lovely card, Thom.
You're welcome. I'll see you there.
Sure, man.
Okay, everybody. Well, wow, look at this crowd already.
Yeah.
All right, welcome to San Marcos Poetry Night. Yeah! Awesome. Already, right with the energy. So my name is Potato Mike. I'm your host for the evening. And for those of you that don't know how this works, we have 3 rounds. It's a round robin. You sign up on the list. If you want to read and you have not signed up on the list, just go like that. Yeah. I'll put your name down and stuff. I already put your name down.
Yeah.
So yeah, we have 3 rounds and we have a little 10-minute break in between rounds, and that's pretty much that. Oh yes. And thank you, Magic Jack. After the end of round 1, we take a picture, a nice group photo of all of y'all's beautiful faces, so all the world can enjoy what I'm enjoying right now. So, without further ado, let's give it up for Thom and Magic Jack. Yay!
Oh, he's back from New York.
Not yet. I will get here. But it's funny you should say that. All of us are on a pilgrimage. We're from Austin to San Marcos tonight, and I thought I'd go back to my hippie origins, so I went back to Woodstock. Now, Woodstock, as you well know, is not the Woodstock of 1969. In fact, there are people there since 1902. It began as an art gallery from the school of Edmund Morris, pre-Raphaelites. In other words, it was like tonight. It was a selective spot for artists. They came out to this country, and they looked for a spot where the artistic values could be consonant with the environmental values they felt within their hearts. They were unhappy with the England of industrialization. Found this little spot near the Hudson River in the Catskill Mountains where the artists could actually express themselves. They founded a gathering like this gathering, and they kept having costume balls and open art galleries and all sorts of things. And then eventually it gravitated to a thing called sing-outs or shout-outs, which was where people gather like this and they express themselves. Well, little boy got an idea that the small things need to be big, so he had a big festival on the Ascus farm because no one else would tolerate a huge gathering. And ever since then, there's been this mythology which has been eating the young of love, peace, and harmony for 3 days in 1969. Verse 2014, September for sure, and we know quite well that that's gone forevermore. But I'm doubting Thomas. I'm Didymus. I want to put my hand in the wound. I want to see how much peace, love, and harmony actually exists in this time. So I'm there at the Hudson River Festival, celebrating Pete Seeger, 93 but now gone. And there at the Kingston Arts Festival for children in the parks, for the green of the hills and the wilds of the mountains. And there, where people say that art is the way you play today. And I found Bob Dylan's photographer, Elliot Landy, and all the people who have survived that time to say that this is the magic time. How do we know? Because the Woodstock of your minds no longer exists. And when I walk along the 2 streets that constitute the Woodstock Arts Village, I find this. That's right. It's the app for Woodstock. I could not believe it, so I stole it. I took it off the fence post, had staples all the way around, to show that you cannot eat the past. This is the holy moment. This is the festival. This is a space where your art can find its evolution and expression. However much we recycle our past stories and tell the stories of what happened once. Once is only once, and tonight is your time. This is the app. Don't go there. This is your pilgrimage. This is your song.
All right. You're not. Don't go anywhere.
Aha, making work.
Coming up next, actually, real quick, to all the people that just joined us, yes. Are you all going to read? Jaime, are you going to read? Yes, of course you are. Awesome.
Yeah.
All right, and coming up, we have Magic Jack.
I gotta get my stuff.
Oh, he's gotta get. Okay. He's gotta get. Oh, that's me. All right. Hey! I'm not ready, but All right. So I've been really, I've still been kind of going through a little bit of of a writer's block. This is something that my very dear friend wrote. I think he writes great poetry. He just doesn't like to do anything with it. So I'm gonna read it. I didn't tell him I was gonna do it. Screw him. He's my best friend. He's my best friend. I can say that.
Yeah? So your best friend?
Yeah, I can totally say that. And I just complimented the dude's poetry. So.
We always start the ones we love.
Cliche.
All right.
You gotta give props to his
I'll say his name, Rebecca. It's okay. It's okay. All right. This is called sustainability. Do not waste your days on recycled youth. That is what your nights are for. Do not waste your light on recycled thoughts. That is what your dreams are for. Do not waste your dreams on recycled prayers. That is what the cloth is for. Do not waste your words on recycled men. That is what the screams are for. Do not waste your mind on recycled time. That is what the past is for. Do not waste your art on recycled dreams. That is what the theme is for. Thank you. And that was by Bradley Fielding. Awesome guy. And coming up next, we have the Magic Jack. Give it over, Magic Jack.
How are we doing tonight?
Good.
I didn't hear it.
Amplified.
Yeah.
How are we doing tonight? Still not. I'm not feeling it. I'm not feeling it. Maybe we need more beer or something. Lift your beer if you have one. Oh, those are the people that are responding right there. Now we know who the drunks are. Okay. I'm just kidding. Seriously. So I got some new shite.
New shite.
Yes, new shite. It's called Sultry. It is August in Texas. I couldn't decide which was more sultry. Was it the oppressive heat? Was it this Austin part of summer? Was it that dress that she wore? Or was it those eye-catching stockings? Sultry, 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 oh my. How does one deal with attractive, sensual, sexy, voluptuous, erotic, seductive, hot, glancing eyes? Eyes that are fixed on your eyes. No, don't look at me like that. Just kidding. Fixed on the impossible and the improbable. If you allow, a scorpion can sting you where they exist, and if you tally near. Sultry, sultry, sultry. Oh my. Wisdom is knowing where frolic and fancy are fun, where to run, and when to be done.
Yeah.
The sky is on fire, and your memories are yesterday's desires. Sultry, sultry, sultry. Oh my. Take cover when you need shelter. When it's hovering at 100 degrees, air conditioning cools the body, and sometimes it calms false delusions. As the sweet sweat dissipates, your skin can breathe again. Sultry, 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 oh my. Your eyes can adjust and behold. Sometimes there's a gap so obvious that you feel you are not present. Am I in a movie without the film? Isn't it pretty much true that it's not really about you, it's just sultry, 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 oh my.
Well, that was a very sultry, sultry, sultry poem. Thank you, Magic Jack.
Thank you.
Dude, all right, coming up next week, we have Louise. Give it up for Louise, everybody.
Every little breeze seems to whisper Louise. The birds in the trees.
Well, I went off and left my Kindle Fire at home.
Oh!
So I had to write something new. No, I've written a couple of poems. But I thought I'd do a quick haiku to my Kindle Fire before I read this. I've just been writing haikus for the last 3 weeks. If you'll forgive me. Haiku, Wi-Fi-ku. I can't remember this. I'll do it when I have it. I thought I had it. Okay. I went to school here, when it was Southwest Texas. And this poem is about that. The hill, or some people from West Texas call it the heel. Alma mater, green springs and wild rice, where raccoon tail river plants sway in the chilly current and blind salamanders lurk. School on the hill, testing the legs, taxing the stride, and hardening the calves of those who endure for years. Home away from home, only 30 miles hence, but a world away after high school. Independent life for a young person, embarking on adulthood, the unknown country. I'm afraid there is no going back, but that's all right.
All right, thank you. All right, to the people that have just come in, if y'all are reading and y'all have not signed up on the list, do you want to I can see who's all there. That's a lot of people. That's awesome. And you all reading?
Yes.
Yes. What is your name?
Thomas.
Thomas. All right,
Yes.
Thomas. All right, cool. I'll write your name down.
Okay.
And coming up next, this guy came up with me all the way from Victoria, Texas.
Oh, wow.
He's a very dear friend of mine, a great poet. He's also one of the co-founders, creators of Victoria Spoken Word, our own little open mic down there. Y'all give it up for Mr. Jim Darling. Yay! Hello.
Short and sweet. I asked the sky the reason why. It cries upon the earth, and every cloud called down for me to see what rain is worth. I asked my heart why all my art imparts the wrong impression. Then all of the poems and prose I wrote denoted that same question.
All right, thank you. Coming up next, we have Robin. Everybody give it up for Robin.
That's Robin.
Hey.
Could you also put me on the list?
Yes, what's your name?
Wayne.
Wayne. All right.
Put me on the list, please.
Yes, already got you.
Okay, cool.
Really short poems tonight, so I'm going to put in a plug for a writing workshop before I start. Every Wednesday in Austin, in far South Austin, from 1 to 3 o'clock at Strange Brew, there is a writing workshop called Harriet's Group, and we would love to have you there. I host it, but it's named after my cat, and she's a very literary cat. She loves to hear about all the poets, so I'll help you come out if you're there in far South Austin on Wednesdays. So, this was one of the exercises we did a couple of weeks ago in Harriet's Group, and I regret that the line I was inspired by is almost as long as the poem. The poem is short, but from Gerard Manley Hopkins' notebooks, cloud under cloud with a gray stroke underneath. And then I wrote, hot blue day, but there's a gray lake under each cloud under cloud. That is, if there were more than one cloud on a late summer day in Austin. If there were many cloud lakes, we could build a rainstorm out of their shadows, with strokes of lightning underneath. We could be shadow dancers, rain dancers, shaman, but for now we remain under a tent to block the shadowless sun. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Coming up next, we have Scott. Everybody get over Scott.
First, the obligatory info. I record all the shows. They go to YouTube on a site called Open Mics Austin that I go to. There's 30-something up there now. If for any reason you do not want your piece on YouTube, let me know and I'll cut it out. Okay. That all being said, I'll do as best I can.
Could you turn the sound up a little bit,
Yeah,
please?
sure. It was getting really, the tone was really goofy earlier. Is that better? Is it better? Higher? Higher? Higher.
If you come in and close the door, it'll be a little more.
Yeah, shut the door helps. Is that better? Oh, that'll sound better. And what I found is the best solution to that problem is just say whatever the hell comes into my head. So here goes. My fingers have been doing something recently, so I gotta sort of let them do what they want to do, and it may take a little while to catch up. So. I spent. Well, let's go this route. I can't exactly say what gets people down or makes it cynical, but every once in a while something happens to you and you think, man, how do I put that behind me and get on to the good stuff? And it's poetic. It makes you think, you know, of trees and snowflakes and the way light falls on a wine glass in the middle of the night, or the moonlight may fall on it. And I look out and I see all these faces that I've seen before. I mean, some I've spent time with and some I haven't, but they all have the same basic look to them. Eager to hear some sense of truth or some sense of purpose. The purpose is to let all that pain and that suffering go and hang on to the positive. To see the lights not as just bulbs in a lamp, but realize that behind all that there's a power that's more important than these guitar strings or this guy talking. There's a power that says you're going to rise up no matter what happens to you, no matter how dark it is, and no matter what it takes out of you. And it's been a tough week. It's been one where I've questioned. My son has told me the greatest human evil is doubt. So where do you put your faith? It sounds to me like you put it in the ears of another, and you trust that when the fingers want to do something different, you let them. I don't even know what poetry is anymore. My whole life feels like it's a poem, and I don't know about y'all, but I get to the point where every waking moment is just some other opportunity to say something, whether it's lifting a glass or talking to somebody. And the smile's gonna break out because it's glorious. It's absolutely amazing that people have a place in their world that they can come and let it all hang out, and they don't have to worry about a god-darn thing, but relieving their tensions and relieving their creative spirit. That's why I record the open mics. That's why every open mic I go to, I broadcast as far and wide as I can, because you guys are sharing something that you don't get to share with anybody else in any other space but this one. And this song's going to end in just a second here. I can tell it's coming. So I got to get this out. I am so in love with life. I mean, even when it's dark and down and abysmal, there's some part of me that says, you know, those sounds in your head that keep telling you there's trouble are just your own flipping mind working you over. So let them go. Let in the sound of all the other poets and let them wash over you like you're a stream somewhere down near San Marcos, you know? And if anybody ever hears this, and I hope it's y'all, it's that you let everything you possibly can let out tonight when you get up to this mic. And the really cool part about the San Marcos open mic is you'll get to do it 2 more times if you stay around. So stick around, man. Let it hang out, and thanks for listening. Peace.
Thank you so much. Makes me feel all warm inside. Yeah, I know, it's a horrible thing to feel all warm inside. All right, coming up next, we have Brett.
Wow.
Everybody give up Brett.
What song's gonna be like this? It's about not bumping into others. So, actually, okay, I was gonna do it about shamans, but shamans don't bump into others, and So shamans aren't crackpot potential doctors. They're not even wannabe doctors. They didn't study. They never took crack, but they did. They learned an interior method of self-development. Some of them, but anyway. So now that I have the mic, and this is a really long poem, but I want to mention a few random things like hearts and guitar. I just saw a heart back there, but there's a guitar here. But okay, let's get really into it. Can I have a bongo or like some instrument to drum, maybe? Okay, never mind.
I forgot him. Okay. I can use this right. Okay.
Okay, this is really good. Thank you guys. So the song is about shamanism. I always thank my mom for being the exemplar of momanism. There were no Mormons in my house. No poor examples of what could happen if the church allowed you to get married to your spouse. It's called Mormonism. But now I'm torn between them. I'm not a shaman. I'm not a spaceman. Oh shit, there's a different song. Oh, sorry if I cuss for some people who find that unkosher, but I'm not a Christian either. I don't prefer toe stockings. You know, God was never in my family, so I can never say there was a clause about that. I never even believed in Santa Claus. No clauses, so I'm not a legal kind of person. Not a lawyer either. I don't punish people for being the way they are, even if they're not lawyers, even if some people hate the profession. I don't like to do that. I just give lessons like against the bankers. We were just talking earlier that they really all want to have compassion or something. I mean, that's, I think, the message of what you're saying. But we were saying we don't like greedy people, like lawyers. I mean, bankers. Oh, that's it. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Brett. All right, Steven, you're coming up next.
Yay,
Everybody get over Steven! Yay!
Is it right if I sit? This is called The Story of Me. It's always good every once in a while. It's always good every once in a while to find yourself in the universe, positioned just so, here but so fleetingly. To be but some ink upon a page for someone, or paint upon a canvas, or a voice in the night, or laughter in the day. What a blessing. And to know your purpose here is to be here for another, for others. How romantic, how genetically familial. How wonderful it is to be one of and with the universe, innately accepted and adored by nature, adventuring in amazement and art, courageously and delightfully diving into the depths of discovery, eager to endure the enjoyments of empathizing with all experiences. We flow free, gallantly giving gratitude and guidance with the hopeful happiness of our hearts, that what we inspire here will incite future imaginations of what is intelligently possible. We are intensely and intimately interconnected, so why not show kindness to the best of your knowledge? Why not lovingly lead people to liberation from suffering so they can live in marriage with the joy of living and strike meaning into this mysterious life? Be overly optimistic and open-minded and original,
Perfect the partnership of patience and passion with perseverance and play, so that your presence is always purely pleasant. There's no reason to not recognize the richness that comes from refining our internal science of sacredness, by reflecting, resolving, respecting, and repentance. For our services are sacrifices for sharing selflessness, spreading spirit, and strengthening our inner synergies to support more splendid synchronicities. In our timelessness, we teach every second of every breath what it is to be truth. And we should be thankful truly for the moments of tranquility, for these transcend teaching and reveals an understanding of peace and unity. We are unique with our own unique understandings brought about by different visions of virtuous experience. And every effort made by you in the universe has been done so that you will be warm-hearted, so that you will be a witness to your own wonder, and be forever worthy of the zealful youthfulness of wisdom, unfolding this story of love.
All right, thank you. I love the alliteration in that. Alliteration. Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right, coming up next we have Caleb. Everybody give him a contribution.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Hi guys.
Hi.
I haven't been back here in forever, and the familiar faces are wonderful. I've been looking forward to this for like 2 weeks.
Yay!
And it's finally here. So great to see you guys again. I wrote this one a few days ago, and it was kind of a moment of just stressfulness, but like once I was able to calm down, I was like, you know what? Life is so good right now. So I came up with this, and it's called I Contemplated Living Today. I contemplated living today. You truly would have been so proud for the way my hands they braced for earthquakes, but today I stood up for the countless time, just a little bit less quiet, cautious for who was in the next room. After all else is left observation. My heart is an empty room, gates thrown open as if to say, welcome. Sell me a reason to trust you. Forgive me for my whisper. I forget sometimes I walked these streets with eyes set to dim, with words of a long-lost friend. Surely I'll stand just a little bit taller. But right now, I swear it feels right. Feeling my way through the twilight, caught up on memories of the sun. I feel like this is a turning point, because my eyes, they piece together the words I cannot hear by way of an empty space. Here I wrote until I learned how to speak. And I learned how to speak exactly as you said I would, searching for an attempt to stare at the sun and then come back again. I can breathe, I swear this time, just enough for a whisper, but I'll tell you again that I know this is all it takes just to get the job done. That I know that I can't change the things I carry upon my shoulders, but I can rightly let it go. Yes, my friend, I let it go. Sometimes the invitation trailing behind me, but at last I've no reason to turn back for anything. I'll keep it close to me. Every scar that we made a story, but at the very least, I promise you the truth.
Yeah.
All right, thank you. All right, coming up next, we have Ray. Give it up for Ray! Ray! Hooray!
Well, the theme of the night seems to be the glorification of the present. But sometimes I think maybe the present is overrated.
So is the past.
Maybe it's all we've got, but a lot of people have talked about that, time, present, time, past. Past is not only not dead, it's, what did Faulkner say? Past is not even past, it's not dead. Anyway, ruminations on memory. Half a lifetime ago, on the cusp of youth and middle age, my marriage was turning stale and flabby. My eye began to wander, and my cock wasn't far behind. There were drunken fumblings in the dark with partners not to be seen again, remembered only hazily while blaming it on the wine and whiskey that gave me permission to stray. But in time, I stumbled onto Sandra, salty, spicy Sandra. Now, decades later, I can still taste her brine and tamarind. We had a torrid affair that went on for weeks, or was it months? Powered by cognac and cannabis, we plowed our way through lusty afternoons, and sometimes we wallowed on through the night. My wife pretended to believe my likely stories, and we limped on for a while, pretending that everything was all right, or at least that it would be once we sorted out a few things. But in time we came to accept the obvious, that our problems were beyond sorting out, and that in some cases, divorces are made in heaven. Curiously, my sweaty afternoons and sultry nights with Sandra also came to an end. Our affair, though rambunctious, had held steady on the solid foundation of a three-legged stool. But once the leg of marriage was removed, the stool collapsed, and Sandra and I crashed to the hardwood floor. That was decades ago, but in my private museum of sexual memories, Sandra is one of the prize exhibits, and sometimes I find myself gazing back on our randy couplings. One image I cannot erase is of her contorted, in extremis face viewed through her pubic jungle. The memory makes me salivate. She was such a delicious woman. Last year, for the first time in ages, I paid a visit to New York, and on impulse, I dialed Sandra's old number. Hello? My God, could that be her after all these years? Sandra? Yes, who is this? I told her and she said, who? Don't you remember? Back in the 70s. Did we know each other then? Indeed we did. We had quite a thing together. I'm sorry, I just don't remember. She was not unfriendly, and we chatted on for a few minutes, but nothing I said could revive any memory of me. Finally, feeling a little deflated, I rang off. I reflected on the exchange we just had. I was convinced that she was being honest, that she really didn't remember me. Did she have Alzheimer's? After all, she too was now in her 70s. She hadn't forgotten just me, she had forgotten everything. That seemed the most likely explanation. I, like most men who had long careers in drinking, had my share of generic pussy. But there was nothing generic about Sandra. She was a name brand. Had I been just generic cock to her? How could she forget something so unforgettable? On that same trip back east, I continued on up to the Berkshires for a big anniversary party, a kind of reunion. The crowd was made up of a few old friends and a few vague acquaintances, but mostly total strangers. I bumped into Lisa, a woman I had apparently known decades before. I wouldn't have remembered her name had we not been introduced. Even then, I only vaguely recalled her. She had been someone's friend or little sister or something of the sort. But she drew me over into a quiet corner and told me that she would never forget that day that we went skinny dipping in the quarry and wound up spending the weekend together before I drove her down to JFK to catch her flight to Paris. As she talked, I began to vaguely recall some of the events she described. Yes, it had happened, but I hadn't thought about it in years. And even with her refreshing my memory, I recalled it only dimly. I could see that she was disappointed. What I had trouble recalling was a vivid, highly prized memory for her, a highlight of her youth. After those two encounters, I spent some time mulling over what might cause such differing intensity of memory in people who had participated in the same events. For Lisa, her fling with me had been part of a larger drama, her first trip to Europe. I was the older, wiser lover, who had seen her off and launched her into an exciting new life. For me, even though old photographs revealed her to be a striking young willowy blonde, vaguely resembling Botticelli's Primavera, I had trouble recalling any precise details of our time together. I can only guess that though sweet, she had not yet acquired her own flavor. Perhaps she is rosemary and thyme in the memory of some other man, but to me she was only a sweet young thing, still devoid of tang. Piecing together what she said and looking back over the experience of a long life, I guess that in addition to being oh so young and oh so beautiful, she had also been oh so eager, and that I had helped her in her transition from innocence to experience. I had become part of her personal mythology, while for me our fling was just another weekend and a long summer of wine, women, and song. Maybe I was something similar to Sandra, just one of a large cast of characters who made up her decade of sex, drugs, and rock and roll. For me, she was much more than that. Lisa had been an innocent young wood nymph with whom I had cavorted for a few halcyon days in a flower-strewn meadow. But Sandra was a full-fledged woman, full of urban angst and intellectual turmoil. Even today, I can recall long discussions of Kafka, Nietzsche, Jung, and Northrop Frye that sometimes degenerated into heated arguments. Once, during an impassioned argument over the definition of the novel, she hurled one of her Limoges teacups at my head, and I managed to duck just in time. However heated our arguments became, they were always resolved in a lusty tangle in her queen-size bed. She played a crucial role in my reinvention of myself. She helped prepare me for further adventures in other towns and other countries. Consequently, she remains an important figure in my personal mythology. So memory is not always accurate. It is often corrupted by context and distorted when refracted through subsequent events. I get that. Still, I find it hard to comprehend how I made no lasting impression on Sandra. Her lack of memory even made me question whether it had ever happened. I have no documentation of our long-ago affair. Maybe she is just a figment in the imagination of a dirty old man. No. Of course it happened. You might not remember me, Sandra, but I remember you. We had our time together. Yes, we did. And what a time it was. You were a delicious woman, Sandra. You're still delicious. I can still taste your brine from tamarind.
All right, thank you, Ray. All right, so we are about halfway through round one, and I just want to remind everybody that at the end of round one, if y'all could all come up here and we take a group photo that we can put on the page just to show everybody how awesome of a time that we're having and how beautiful and wonderful y'all all are. So, without further ado, it's Cynthia. Everybody get over Cynthia. Yay!
My writing teacher keeps an envelope full of nouns and verbs and an envelope full of adverbs and adjectives, and she'll pull one out from each and say, you have a minute, write about, tell me about. And so she said, tell me about the color of teenagers. And this is in my minute, what I wrote. I love to watch teenagers. They are magnificent in their uncertainty, dark and black, plugged into their music, or pink for a spring prom. Teenagers are any color and every color, all colors, all ranges of shades and hues. Teenagers are the color of true, deep feelings, of love gone wild and despair beyond belief. Teenagers are the color of beginnings and endings. Teenagers are the colors adults can no longer be, yet endlessly admire.
should be a curtain for me to do like behind the stage. Oh yeah. Oh wow. But that's not really effective there. I'd just kind of be like, yeah, then it just wouldn't really work. All right, coming up next we have Grace. Everybody give it up for Grace. Yay!
You are a woman. You are the reason behind my plans. You are the tingling between my legs. You are the cause of my disorientation. But you are a woman, and I am a woman. Except that I'm not. When you call my name, I'm no woman. I simply exist to be a part of you. I'm a spirit doing my lust and my love. I have no time for the world. I can only breathe in your body and soul. I'm desperate for you to love me, and in that moment, I am so human. You are not a woman, nor am I. We are the definition is love.
All right, thank you. So can everybody hear pretty well? Yeah. Yep. All right, good. Awesome. Not. Yeah.
There's room on the
You what? Yeah, we don't really. Yeah, I'll do my best for whatever I can do.
Well, if you're in the room, you can hear, but if you're outside listening to the traffic,
there's a lot going on.
There's room on the floor if you want to sit down.
Yeah, there's
Close the door and come into the floor.
The problem is you can close the door to drill stuff real fast.
You can't hear us.
Oh, and then chairs.
Yeah, there's also you can sit on stage too.
horseshoe, you can
We can move these doors over this.
We can.
Oh, sorry.
Oh my God, it's turned into chaos and anarchy.
People like it here.
Yeah. Yes.
Strong leadership.
Yes.
That's all.
Yes.
Some
Yeah.
song there, right?
And yeah. So yeah. All right. Yeah. So, all right. Well, coming up next, while people are figuring out whatever, we have Emma.
There's one chair.
Emma, everybody give over Emma. Yay! And there's room on the stage to sit.
Hi, my name is Evan Zarati. This is my first night here.
Yeah, first night.
I was gonna read 2 poems which I wrote in high school, which you must think was like yesterday, but it was actually like 10 years ago. I was thinking maybe I would just wash out all the old stuff, and because I've been trying to get it ready again. So I had some things prepared, but I wrote a reaction to your poem. Yeah, I had a beer. I'm small, so I'm just gonna go with this. All right. No title. Observing your lips. Forget your eyes, the windows to your soul. Give me your tongue, which must have given lame cunnilingus. The purity, the words coming out of your mouth, pouring out like cum. I keep my eyes open. Don't blink, don't blink, don't blink. Oh yes, words! Oh Sandra! Oh Sandra! There is no sexual invitation here. Merely an artist observing an artist.
Thank you. All right. Coming up next, we have Ryan. Give it up for Ryan, everybody. Yay!
I guess I can hold it up like it's a book. Everyone hear me? Yes. Hey, cool. I was going to do a repeat, but I wrote this morning, so I hope you liked it. It's called American Amnesia. It happens more than we like to admit, and although it's hard to quit, we can't seem to stop for a moment and really have a decent look at what's going on around us. A tragedy, a moment of truth is born out of fire and light, and we all sing the song that will recant this terrible happenstance for moving more than an inch. We rally, we cry, we make it known our steadfast opposition, or coalition, that will really change something this time. Alas, the fire runs out of fuel faster than we know. It's no longer fresh, it's no longer curious. An endless eon of 24 hours passes us by, and there it is again. A tragedy, a moment of truth is born out of fire and light, and we all sing the song that will recant. But wait, what happened? Weren't we previously fixated on a task that seemed so pressing, so terribly and incredibly important that we would say anything to express our opinion of it? Nay, something new, something fresh has happened, and it is ancient history. How do you expect me to pay attention to something that happened 72 hours, 72 agonizing hours ago, when this happened just now? The Gulf of Mexico cries out in melancholy. The immensity of world affairs can be crushing in its gravity of reality. This method of amnesia is dangerous to the degree of dystopia. Remember what it is you stand for, because others surely will not remind you. Thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, coming up next, we have Mr. PW. Yeah, give up for PW, yay!
Thank you, Mike. Wow. There's fucking people in here. Y'all know this is poetry, right? Wow, this is such a, it's invigorating to come here and hear everybody's stuff. And, wow, man. Somebody came from Houston.
Caleb.
Is it
The blue shirt.
Where's he?
He's left.
The blue shirt.
And
Yeah,
Victoria in the house. Yeah. Mike and Jim back there. Victoria's spoken word is taking off. There's a thing going on Monday in Victoria. Check that out. These guys can give you the information on it. I'm moving around a lot myself lately. I was in Dallas last night reading. That segues into this. Absolutely not. This is cool though. This is cool. It's not cool. It's hot in here, especially in the summertime. But the rain helped. I've been trying to avoid work, honest work, my whole life. I was 15 years old. My friends were working at, feed mills and sacking bags of groceries at the HEB, and I got a job at the little local radio station, KQRO AM FM in Cuero, Texas. And I haven't gotten an honest job since, but one of the things that we used to play polka and football games and really crappy country music, and but there was a collection of 33s there in the control room. I was flipping through them. I found one called "Songs You Know by Heart." And Jimmy Buffett. It looked cool. Checked it out, and I fell in love with Jimmy Buffett music. And probably for about 30 years. I really digged his music, and then I went to go see him the other day, a few months ago, up there at Austin 360 Monstrosity. Anybody been to a show at that amphitheater? That place fucking sucks, man. It's just too big. Anyways, this is new stuff. It's called Breaking Up with Jimmy Buffett. Some of us here are old enough to appreciate this. Everybody else study. Jimmy Buffett broke up with me last night in a dream as we were leaving his place. He pulled me aside and he told me, "When you get home, don't contact me anymore." And it was kind of a shame in my dream because my girlfriend seemed to be getting along so well with his mother, who looked just like her mother in my dream. I guess looking back, I had seen it coming for decades, how he was a no-show at a Katrina benefit, playing a corporate gig for Tyco executives that night instead. The branding, tequila, beer, casual dining, restaurants, lawsuits claiming trademark infringement anytime that a parrot and tequila were seen together. A long, long way from living in the back of Jerry Jeff Walker's car and smoking and coking with Ann Richards on the south shore of Town Lake. We'll always have A1A and down to earth and three-quarter time. In every latitude there are attitudes that just don't stay the same, rhythms that no longer rhyme. No, he didn't owe me anything. I just kind of found him when I needed an excuse for post-Catholic, over-literate, saltwater, don't give a fuck. But sooner or later, we all grow into our family names, like it or not. That last time I saw him in Texas, 1 hour, 1-hour line for a watered-down boat drink, $45 t-shirts that I'd be embarrassed to be seen in, private, corporately sponsored, air-conditioned enclaves all over the amphitheater grounds. I have never been comfortable in large crowds of suburban white people, frat boys and fox blondes, all grown up with mutual funds and Tommy Bahama beachwear. There will be no more deaths of unpopular poets, and the Coconut Telegraph is a victim of deregulation. Goodbye, Jimmy Buffett. I have my own sunsets to seek, my own poems to find, and my own tides to ride. You owe me nothing, and it's better this way. Really, it's not you, it's me.
All right, thank you, thank you. All right, coming up next, we have Misty Rose. Everybody get up, Misty Rose!
Yes. I got Houston beat. I'm from Oklahoma.
Whoa!
But I graduated in Texas and have family here, so that's what I love. So I'm going to share with you a poem, Lost Not Found. Let me take you on a journey. From a time when there were gentlemen and ladies, to times of gentlemen's clubs and ladies of the night. From an innocent time of playing ring around the rosies and the weeds, to cities where drugs are in the nose and children smoke weed. A time once upon a time was not so lost, not found. Let me take you back to once upon a time. Lost, not found. Wonder if a lost town be found. Cobblestone echoes and beckons with its sound. The farmers are market bound. The sweet smiling maidens gather round. The roadway sounds with laughter's bounce, where children's play wound the hoop way. Spry urchins sprout among the weeds, seeking out where a spring breeze leads. Hoofbeats clip-clop across the grounds amid the din of yelping hounds. The slapping reins allow no slack. Moving wheels slice straight through the pack. Wander through Old Town, lost till found. Cobblestone ledge is rose bloom crowned. The town people are market bound. Beautiful maidens gather round. Those gentlemen buy bright posies to give to their courted ladies. They still remember that ribbon when May Day's kiss was forbidden. A tangled net of hair got caught by what nobody can be taught. To market fair place all roads take, changing pace for all who partake. Hometown wonder, no lost or found. Cobblestone edge gets tired and ground. Seasoned hunters are market bound. Brave heart and maidenhead spin round. Rose rub felt for rebellion's turn. Lone deer succumbs to cushion burn. Without good family fences, boys borrow manhood pretenses. Hedonic power trips each sense. Worn back streets hide where lust is dense. Passion crowds cold where goods are sold. Cradle wish, crib's warm blanket fold. Wander through Old Town, old, lost, not found. Paved cobblestones echo each sound. Unsettled folk are market bound. Middens last long, quickly passed round. Sidewalk of moons, memory croons. Children won't stay, wound a hoop's gray. Street whelps now play with wizened weed. Chase dust clouds, no gentle men lead. Boot heels smack across shifting rage. Mud bathes a world where storms rampage. The slapping welt allows no slack. Bloody Mary splash, hood-worn pack. Cobbled corpses upon stoned ground. Once upon a time, lost, not found. Lost, not found.
Oh, thank you. All right, coming up next we have Jaime. Everybody give it Jaime!
Did you prep this for me?
I tried, not successful.
Alright, let me see here. It's nice that semester started. By the way, Udemo Cats, just want to say that. What's up, guys? There you go. Nice semester started because I can see all you fine folks here. And it's always pleasant. I noticed the folks from Austin come. And Cuero as well, and Houston and Caleb. Point being is I see people come from all about the area, and it tells me, it reassures to me that when I come here, it's really a really inviting scene. I think that just kind of shows that, hey, you got something really nice here, guys, or we do rather, right? So yeah, I'm rambling, so I'm gonna ramble on with this. How's that? All right. And let me try something here. I want you guys on this side to say it again, and then when I point over here, you guys on this side say it once more, all right?
Say it again.
Say it again. Sam!
Okay, we're not going to do that.
Start with us first. Once more.
Come on, give us a chance. Try again.
Yeah. Say it again. Once more.
Yeah, this one kicks y'all's ass. Y'all guys in the back? Yeah, there you go. Okay, anyway. Walk on by, trying to make it easy to lie. Lie to self, so to walk on by. Time and space is dear, a bit of space to grieve, an eternal tick-tock to hear. The sun slides down on, recites the ballad to fold the day. Arising, the moon melds with the sky, and the night opens its arms to christen its stay.
Say it again.
Once more.
Arising, the moon melds with the sky, and the night opens its arms to christen its stay. Oh, and with its calm and comely amalgam, my ballad for you, both litanists and knots, won't stop being sung, but it will be easier as the folds walk on by. Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
That's more.
Yes.
Wow.
This side definitely is on point.
I told you they're on camera.
Yeah. All right. So we have just 3 more poets for round 1, and after that, I want everybody to come up to the stage, and we're gonna take a group photo. Even if you didn't perform, you still listened, and that matters just as much. Because otherwise, we would just be talking to empty air, and yeah, we still do that anyway. So, so coming up next, we have Thomas.
Oh, that's me.
Oh, that's him. Awesome. Give it up for Thomas.
Whoa.
Yay!
Where's the stool? Right here. On this stool.
I need to set
Oh,
up.
I thought you meant over here.
Okay, here.
I bought a typewriter just to write poetry. So I started reading Bukowski. Alrighty, I got some poems. Can I read 2 short ones? I write short poems. 2 short ones. I have 2 short ones. Alright. I was in this art class, which was a farce to begin with. The students in there and me were talking about something. And we got on the subject of great artists of the modern age. I don't like Pollock, the dyke said. She was cute. I would have liked to fuck her. Until she said that. What do you mean you don't like Pollock? I just don't get what the big deal is. I was drunk, as I usually was, for this waste of a class. So I kept talking where I should have stopped. If you're too fucking stupid to get Pollock, you shouldn't be an artist. The class collectively shit themselves. I had to drop the class. I don't even really care too much for Pollock. I'm a Rothko man. My second poem. There was this kid I knew, always high on drugs. He came in one hot August morning, complaining about the cold and rain. Can't get a damn nickel for a dime out there. I think his name was Nicky or Nikita. Odd son of a bitch. Jumped off buildings for fun. Ran from the cops and the mall cops. Fucked all the hood rats and the mall rats. Smoked the bad weed and got high on the stale drugs. Came to school and got D's and F's. I knew him before he was a screw. There wasn't much difference, really. He was kind of annoying and unpredictable. The booze and drugs level him out, I think. It's good for a fella to be level. With a name like Nikita or Nikki, deck's already stacked against you. Especially in South Texas. So damn hot, can't get a nickel for a dime. Thanks, everybody.
All right, thank you. All right, coming up next, we have Jack. Well, there he is. All right, he's outside. Everybody get over Jack. Yay!
Hello. I don't know how to do this. I'm gonna try. That makes sense. All right. Hey, see a lot of familiar faces and a lot of unfamiliar faces. They'll be familiar by the end of the night. This is called Ruminations on a Midnight Summer Highway. And it's something that I'm having workshopped in a creative writing class. So if anyone says it's a piece of shit or just has that one thing that they think would be better, just tell me afterwards, and that'll help the creative process. At night, the large American flags that hover above car dealerships look subdued. Certain stretches of highway resemble artistic impressions of the gates of hell. Invisible light is protruding, but only on the left. Visible darkness is making strange noises to the right. And the strain of keeping them open brings my eyes to a close. Jesus takes the wheel, but he can't drive a stick. I am empty as the darkness to my right. Shapeless, formless. History evaporates into the purple sky. I am empty as the darkness, full of stars I cannot see. The world expands and contracts. Christ, I need to quit. I feel nothing, but I hear the wind trying to pop my ears. I feel so happy I do not smile. Consider the lobster, the man on the radio says, so I turn it off. I look to it, and all the shapes and blurry silhouettes, the shifting haze of a landscape, all that corrupts it, houses, street lamps, the outside outmind of a vision I have no access to. Ba-dum, 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 I pass over something, and I hope to God it's not a cat. If it's a cat, I'm going to cry. Hell, I'm going to cry anyway, so I pull over. And forget to put the hazards on for a full minute. The darkness is always right, except in Scotland, where it's morning, I bet. I am empty as the horizon. The sun has left. The sun has abandoned what we once had. A kind of love that falls and clings arbitrarily, like a dead tree choosing which direction to fall.
All right, we've just got one more poet left for round one. I think I got her. Did I miss anybody? No. Okay. So we've just got one more poet left, and then we're gonna take a little break from round one. But before we do that, we're gonna take a picture. It's gonna be awesome, and I love you all forever and ever for it. Thank you. So coming up, we have Wayne. Give it up for Wayne, everybody.
So I actually don't read my poetry out loud ever.
So let's see how this works out.
Go away! Yay! Thank you, Doug.
Okay, so dreams to sleep on. There is a place in my mind where all I have is time. From the pineal it grows, from the north it blows, pulsating and striving it hallows me. The music falling through me, out of me, around me, consuming me. The wind carries me out of my body. There were clouds in the air, and I just didn't care. Moving to that shell seemed shoddy. But further and further I was thrust, till there was no more than dust. Living in this waking dream fills me with the urge to sing. My voice trails away, and I start to sway. My mask was complete. They jumped on their feet and cried out, "Welcome, my son, welcome to the machine." I stared at the amazed scene. The jesters were kings. That was an interesting mushroom experience. If there's any cops in here, support me.
All right, everybody, that was the end of round 2, and if you could all come up here to take a picture, a little group photo, so we can put it on the San Marcos Poetry Night website. So everybody, hello! Hey, everybody! How are y'all doing? Are we having a good night? This is round 2. When's the third? It depends on how many people read and how fast the song goes. So,
Can I sign up, Michael?
Yes.
Third round.
You want to sign up for round 3?
Yes. Is there any spots in round 2 left?
Yeah, you can go in round 2.
Yeah. Round 2.
Go ahead and put your name down.
I'm going to do last.
Yes.
Alright, best for last. Watch out.
Yeah.
Can't wait.
And I'm going to butcher your name.
It's okay. Lochus the Great.
Lochus
Don't worry
the
about
Great.
Alexander. He's trying to take it away.
Alright.
I'm declaiming it tonight.
There we go. Alright. Okay, everybody, yeah. So this is going to be the beginning of round 2. Yes. Y'all have been so awesome. This has been so great so far. Thank you so much for coming out tonight. And thank you. San Marcos Poetry Night meets the first Thursday of every month here at Wake of the Dead. So, without further ado, we have Thom and Magic Jack. Give it up, yay!
I love this world and everything in it. Freedom of speech and freedom of assembly. That's not too good to me. You just call it poetry. I call it life. It sings for everything. Everything I sing. Greener grass and all the skies that are just coming down and our lives right. They say emotional drought is here in Texas. I say the water will cure us. Optimism and laughter, of course. Every song must have a chorus while we're alive. We are part of this to survive. Is only part of it tonight. That time we all start to revive. What do you think? Talking to those people who edit their experiences and censor their emotions. I'm talking to those people's full flame devotion. Well, just the other day I was sitting in the park looking at a sign on the ground that said, "Imagine Central Park, John Lennon." Saturday night, we're doing calls for peace in a world of wars and casualties. The only way to be is harmonies. And you can see by the smiles on your face and the light in your eyes that you are part of these. So whether if you are in New York or in San Marcos or Austin, we are asking with an invitation to participation. That your life can be a celebration in the middle of the wars. Peace in your heart, roses, petals, everywhere start, you see. It's so easy. You call it poetry, we call it life, dance, art. You are part of something larger than yourself. You know that I is only one letter of 26 Greek ones that say, oh yes, remain to see. We have come to be with you tonight, to maybe Saturday night, alright, to get you poetry for peace. I'm really hoping you will make it, please, and if you can, bring all your peace, man. You know what I mean. I don't mean cliches, I mean the harmonies inside you. Yeah!
Thank you, thank you. All right, coming up next, we have Louise.
She got a beer.
I have a beer.
She got your beer.
Every little breeze
seems to whisper Louise.
The birds in the trees
seem to whisper Louise.
Since you write musicals.
I do that. I forgot to mention last time that on Sunday afternoon from 3:30 until 5:30 at Recycle Reads in Austin, 5335 Burnett Road, we have our monthly poetry reading in Recycled Reads, which is the Austin Public Library resale bookstore on Burnett Road. Hope you can all come there. It's a very, very, very calm place. You can sit, and they've got Wi-Fi and air conditioning. You can buy books cheap. They have bathrooms. You have to go up and get the big chain at the front.
That's true.
They used to have it tied onto an axe handle, but now I think it's like an old cassette or something. Anyway, I wrote 3 poems while I was waiting here. Hey, I have another go at the haiku, though. I think I remember it now. I usually read from my Kindle Fire. Haiku, Wi-Fi, Kindle Fire, tablet boots, poetry appears. Hey! That's it. It happens almost every time. Okay. I've written some poems about my cats. Usually it's about one of my cats, but I want to write about his mother, Miss Mocha Cappuccino. And this is her life story. Mocha. Mocha Cat sat at arm's length for years, but now deigns to let me hold her close and pet her and stroke her until she tires and bites my hand. Beautiful Mocha, the color of coffee, of chocolate, swirled together. Had small litters, half with crooked tails, tabby and black, a mixture herself, a patch of tabby over her right eye, and every other hair orange, every other hair black, in a pattern of stripes visible only in full sunlight. She was shot once, a pellet under her skin, which worked its way out after a few months. Mocha is calm now, though frenetic in her youth. These spots on my hands are not liver spots, but mocha dots of yearling teeth and claws. Ageless Mocha endures and must breakfast on dining table until her callow son Giancarlo barges in. Oh, but she'll get him. He knows she will swat him a good one when he least expects it, rounding a corner. She brought him into this world, she'll take him out again. Thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, coming up next, we have Magic Jack. Everybody give it up.
How we doing? That sounds a little better than last time. I guess it just took a couple of beers is all. Okay, this is a callback poem. Okay, so your responsibility during this poem is to basically just say the word yes.
Yes.
Now you can say an emphatic yes.
Yes.
Or you can say
Yeah.
whatever suits you.
Yes.
I believe in laws.
Yes.
Yes.
I believe in truth.
Yes.
I believe in love.
Yes.
But is it not more important to live these virtues than to mimic words?
Yes.
We all stand before our flag each morning, sometimes groggy and hungry. Yeah?
Not hungry.
No? Not hungry. Hands over our hearts. Pledge to it. Yes?
Yes.
And each day I wondered, are we one nation under God? Indivisible?
No.
With liberty?
No.
And justice?
No.
For all?
No. Yes.
This was a yes poem. You guys are flunking, man. What the hell?
Yeah.
At what age do we begin to doubt?
One.
Right there, that's right. Yes. Thom started down the day he was born. I don't believe any of this shit. Once we begin to question,
Yes.
we'll become dangerous.
Yes.
Huh?
No.
That was a yes.
Yes.
Oh no, you guys all flunked. I'm sorry. It's over.
Civil disobedience.
Hey! Yes, yes, yes.
All right, thank you, Magic Jack.
You're welcome, yes.
All right, and coming up next, you have this guy right here. Oh, thank you. Y'all are awesome. So, this is, some of y'all heard this, some of y'all haven't, and yeah. So this is called Still Life with Fruit. A bruised banana that doesn't realize it is still good and nutritious. A banana split melting in the mental ward. A man in a banana suit running the Bank of America. A banana in a man's suit in charge of the monkeys at the zoo. A worm hidden in the apple of my eye. A bullseye on the apple atop Eve's head. An apple-flavored sleeping pill endorsed by Snow White. A rotting apple pie on a foreclosed home's windowsill. A sweet peach that was grown from a bad seed. A boy with a bit of peach fuzz that thinks he's the fucking man. A peachy keen outlook in a brutally blunt world. The peach of immortality being a myth that died in the mind of man. A servant poisoning the royalty with the grapes of wrath. An overweight kid playing a game of marbles with grapes. A lone grape drunk with the delusions of a wino. A sour grape sober with the realizations of life. A bowl keeping all the plucked fruit one step away from the fallen. Thank you. And coming up next, we have Mr. Jim Darling. Give it up, yay!
Thank you, Mike. My subtle shake, like the butterfly turns hurricanes, puts the whole world at stake. And whatever art I had started to make, like those 1,000 cranes, will be found to be fake. So must come the complaints, like stop hurting your veins, my restraints. And no pictures in paint, like the ink has left stains, will leave taints. There's a traditional Japanese art form that's called kintsugi. Anybody heard of that? Where they find it difficult to throw away any kind of like piece of pottery that's been in the family. So instead of it cracks, they'll fill the crack in with gold. And I was inspired to write a poem about that. I'm a grain of sand on an endless beach. The pain of a hand that can no longer reach. I am a dewdrop in the deepest ocean. The few stops of a wheel keeping in motion. I'm a breath of air in a smoker's lung. The death of a daring hero left unsung. I am a brick in a crumbling building. The crack in a cup covered up by fine gilding.
right, thank you, thank you. All right, coming up next, we have Robin. Everybody give it up for Robin. Yay!
I wrote this a couple of Saturdays ago, so it's relevant to Friday nights and Saturdays. I lit a new candle for Shabbat last night. You're supposed to let the candles burn all the way out. I couldn't do that with this beautiful scented gift. In my dream, Shabbat lasted a week of peace, and I was awake for all of it, and the candle burned all the way out, finally exclaiming shalom as the flame disappeared. Thank you.
All right, coming up next, we have Scott. Everybody give it up for Scott. Yay!
When I think back on all the things that brought me to this place, my body, the lack of tobacco, money, Jack's email that said, hey, you need a ride? The fact that I looked in my fridge and it was empty except for condiments. The fact that I spent so much time with my children and I thought, I need a break. The fact that in a space of 2 seconds, I reached out to Louise to offer a ride or Jack to bring me here. So, given that a lot went in to me being here, probably y'all too, I must turn the gears until I am finally here. And when I'm here, what do I want to do? What is it that someone in front of a mic wants to do? What do I want to do? I am a person, I'm a real thing. Small though it may be, probably like the one in you, infinitesimal. And to where in your moments of darkness disappears, and there's nothing. But there were those who said, come. There were those who said, be. So I will be here. If I'm lucky, in y'all's inner selves, along the black walls, the ones where we always take down the graffiti to write the poems from. We go and we stumble into Melville or Whitman, let's say, or an apple or an orchard and say, oh, that's what I'm writing. Maybe in that space, in your darkness, some little glimmer will be written. If there's any note I want to write on the walls of the emptiness that is yourself or the space around you, it's like a neon. It says, you are perfect, just the way you are. And then I wonder about all that other stuff, the blackness, where's it come from? I've come here. I'm glad that in the space of 60 seconds, I was able to contribute some little inkling. With the guitar, it might be a little bit. But if there's anything to take away from somebody who comes to a place who really wants to be with you, I want to be so with you that I can feel your ribs or my ribs. I looked at you earlier in the audience, and I could see your heartbeat. I could feel the pulse in your fingers. Let us all be here. And I'm glad that y'all gave me your attention for this space a few moments. And I'm glad that there are those who bring us to such places that we can really be a little spectacle. But when it's lucky, it grows and it fills all the emptiness with light. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Scott. Always makes me feel so good to hear your stuff.
If it doesn't do that, it's not worth it.
That's what I like. All right, I don't see Brett. Is Brett around? I do not see Brett. He is out. Well, someone is SOL. That was mean, wasn't that? Was that mean? No? No? Alright. Steven is there. He's coming up next. Everybody give it up for Steven!
So I wrote this one while reading like Buddhism and Hinduism, and it's called No I. I identifies with thoughts on the most basic level. I breathes, I sleeps, I eats, I sees, I taste, I sees, and taste all taste objects. I creates, I listens, I gives, I dies, I gets born again. I smells, I stink sometimes. I fart sometimes. I has sex, I has group sex, I masturbates. I poops, and sometimes poops and then masturbates, or vice versa. I imagines. I wants and desires and craves. I touches. I kisses. I cuddles. I stretches and balances, and makes union with Shiva and Shakti. I reads and draws. I possesses. I trades. I kills and is killed every moment. I is time lost and gained. I sings its songs into existence. I separates and divides from the absolute most high with symbols and words, yet I solves problems. I comes to conclusions. I contacts new forms of energy every second. I has a body. I has a soul. I forms mental formations. I swims in ignorance of the ultimate reality. But I can come out of it and achieve the final step of karma and become enlightened and become a Buddha, a remember of all things past and present, and arrive at the throne of all wisdom, compassion, virtue, and form of unbecoming. The we, the us that is nature, from micro things to atoms, chemicals, microorganisms to animals, species, environments, planets, solar system, galaxies, and beyond. Beyond, beyond, beyond. That which is we are part and parcel of. Supreme, absolute, infinite unity, that by which thinking is made possible. The supreme mind, the space of all potential and time of all existences of energy. That which air and wind are made possible. That which brain states are made possible. That which senses are created and uncreated. Which is the listened and listener. That which gives all to all. That which never dies nor has been born, but by which both have been made possible. That which permeates each smell, exists within all places of sex, the culmination of chemicals attaching and detaching, that kingdom from which all imaginations are from, by which all wants, desires, clingings, and cravings, and liberations from them emerge from. That which receives all touches, kisses all things and is kissed by all things, and that which cuddles all worlds of existence. That which is perfect balance for eternity. The ultimate dance of Shiva and Shakti, Ma and Ra, Yin and Yang, male and female, 1 and 2, 1 and 0, 1 and infinity, all relations of numbers, colors, shapes, sounds, symbols, chemicals, and all particle and energetic makeups. That which is unpossessible, that which is wholesome most, does not kill and cannot be killed, is the timeless symphony and maestro, movie and director, creation and adventure, painted and illustrator, movement and choreographer, production and producer of all existence, perfect in every way, science, religion, philosophy, or whatever label you give to ultimate existence. The conclusion and primordial cause, form and formless energies before and in between nothing and infinity itself, the soul of all souls. This, that we are part and parcel of, that thisness that is indescribable and describable, undivided and unbegotten, full and empty, home of all bliss and bliss itself, inseparable, countable and uncountable, mover of motion, vibrator of vibration, spacer of space, lighter of light, fractal whole of humanity, life, love, death, and suffering, sustainer, creator, and destroyer, the original avatar, archetype, bestower of archetypes, medium of mind and transcendence of mind, the silence, the harmony, the whole supreme truth, simplified and verified into itself, perfect knowing, total consciousness and unconsciousness in one being, expanding infinitely from the universal's laws made in and of itself, free from all attempts to label it, yet all that which is said and thought, all forged and unforged, remixed and distributed, combined in the completion of the turning and moving puzzle, pieced in one piece, piece of all peace, and gift of all enlightenment, the only one there is, manifested in many, the sum of all togetherness and separateness, time and timelessness, forgiver and forgiven, achiever of karma and all karma, goals of karma, and the final stage of Nibbana.
Thank you. And to anyone that just joined us, if y'all are gonna read, Paul, are you gonna read anything? Yes. All right, I'll put you down. All right. And Brett, are you?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So come on up, everybody, give it up for Brett.
You're late.
Brett was missing.
Tambourine player. That's it. Can I get you to play guitar up here? Sure.
What would you like?
What kind of like what you were playing earlier?
He never does the same thing
Okay.
twice.
Do something different that you've never done.
You'll do the same.
Even though you always do that. This is gonna sound a lot like Thom's poetry, but not the rest of it. That's just the crest of it. I'm here every Saturday night just for the test of it. I don't go to school every day. I'm just cresting it as I put up a playa, the beach. I ain't gonna lie to you. I have to teach and be bleached and refined starch and refined sugar, white bread. I like all of it. It all gets to my head because I'm an American, a true hero. Someone who cares about other countries and humanitarian bomb dropping. Everything's free. Even affiliations with NATO. Everything's free. Once I played the philosophy of Plato and Aristotle, they all came to me in a dream I slept full throttle. I was the daughter of them, Socrates, Pythagoras, created number schemes that I could follow. 1 plus 3 plus 5. 1 plus 3 plus 1 plus 1 plus anyway. 5. Okay, that will suffice. No. Wait, almost done. I'm gonna take it for its last run. That's it. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
There's a scene where the guitar player keeps playing because that was pretty good.
Coming up next, we have Kayla. Everybody get up again.
That was pretty cool. I would be happy. Thank you. Alrighty, this is called Let It Go, Let It Leave, and coincidentally, that is the perfect beat for it. Imagine for a moment, there is no destination to be taken from. Let it go. Whether sound is that failure recognized in an instant, let it leave. I could never imagine you would hear it, but somehow still you are everything. Everything that is nothing as it should be. And yet, as the day slips into something new, as it should be, something new long before I could ever begin to prepare, I cannot help but come to the conclusion something must change here. Tomorrow, you long-lost friend, I need an answer of where the yesterdays have gone. Because it is so much easier just to go back there. Show me otherwise, if you can stand it. Because where each word fails to speak miles of good promises, I cannot help but wonder if they were ever there. So I keep standing, certain of uncertainty, that there is purpose yet to introduce itself. And I know that I believe it will, but could you believe it? Raise my hands towards perfection, no matter how much they may tremble. However far it may take, I let go in search of long-lost forgiveness, unheard of as it may be today. and all that is truth. I only know I walk away. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. All right, now coming up next, we have Ray. Hooray! Hooray!
I don't normally write and rhyme, but given the high seriousness of the topic and the depth of my devotion to the Muse to this is dedicated, I feel that rhyming is the least I can do. Peon to terpsichore. Aside from fucking and sucking, I know of nothing as life-enhancing as dancing.
Amen to that.
What's your preference?
Alrighty. A gentleman never tells. Cynthia still here? Anybody know if Cynthia's still here? I do not think she is.
I think she left.
And Grace, that was with her. Emma! It's Emma. Yes, there she is.
Emma!
Alright, give it up for Emma! Yay!
Oh, the show.
Okay, yeah. We love short
So I heard that you get points for writing something about the 21st event.
Oh yeah, you get bonus points.
It's not on Facebook page. So this is what I wrote. I woke my dad at 21. We took turns pouring our souls, and I had my first drink at 21. The pale soul ale went down smooth and made me merry, but it was the pour that got me, slurring my speech, tripping over myself. Am I pouring too much, or not enough? My inhibition's down, I'm capable of saying anything, and I have 3 rounds to get through. My liver has it easy. It's here, hand pouring the ink onto this paper, that after such heavy drink, will get pulled over, looked down at, with a flashlight, and must write the alphabet backwards. Draw number 4, while touching my nose. Good thing I brought my beautiful designated diary, which is for me to pour it all back out again. See you at 22.
All right, thank you. Awesome. Somebody did something. The 21. That's bonus points. Collect enough bonus points, and at the end of the year, you get the bonus gift. Yeah. Make it ambiguous as possible. Don't hold me to anything. All right, coming up next, we have Brian. Everybody give it for Brian.
What's up?
Okay, so last month I did I like to call it a cover song, because we're at an open mic poetry. So I read George Orwell's "Shooting an Elephant" recently. Really enjoyed it. So this is a passage from it. I hate pre-things to poems, but so I kind of have to set the stage. So George Orwell, 1984. If you're not familiar, he was a British police officer in Burma, occupied Burma in 1932, and he's called upon to respond to this ravaging elephant in this village. He has to go respond because he's a police officer. So on his way, he's got a rifle in hand, and on his way to deal with this elephant, he has this crowd following him. So that's where we find ourselves here. I had halted on the road. As soon as I saw the elephant, I was perfectly certain that I ought not to shoot him. It is a serious matter to shoot a working elephant. It is comparable to destroying a huge and costly piece of machinery, and obviously one not to do it if one can possibly be avoiding it. And at that distance, peacefully eating, the elephant looked no more dangerous than a cow. I thought then, and I think now, that this attack of must was already passing off, in which case he would merely wander harmlessly about until the Mahout came and caught him. Moreover, I did not in the least want to shoot him. I decided that I would watch him for a little while to make sure that he did not turn savage again, and then go home. But at that moment, I glanced around at the crowd that had followed me. It was an immense crowd, 2,000 at the least, and growing in every minute. It blocked the road for a long distance and on either side. I looked at the sea of yellow faces above the garish clothes, faces all happy and excited over this bit of fun, all certain that the elephant was going to be shot. They were watching me as they would watch a conjurer about to perform a trick. They did not like me, but with the magical rifle in my hands, I was momentarily worth watching. And suddenly I realized I should have to shoot the elephant after all. The people expected it of me, and I had to go do it. I could feel their 2,000 wills pressing me forward irresistibly. And it was at this moment, as I stood there with the rifle in my hands, that I first grasped the hollowness, the futility of the white man's dominion in the East. Here was I, the white man, with his gun, standing in front of the unarmed native crowd, seemingly the leading actor of the piece, but in reality I was only an absurd puppet pushed to and fro by the will of those yellow faces behind me. I perceived in this moment that when the white man turns tyrant, it is his own freedom that he destroys. He becomes a sort of hollow, posing dummy, the conventionalized figure of the Sahib. For it is the condition of his rule that he shall spend his life in trying to impress the natives, and so in every crisis he has got to do what the natives expect of him. He wears a mask and his face grows too fitted. I had got to shoot the elephant. I had committed myself to doing it when I sent for the rifle. A Sahib has got to act like a Sahib. He has got to appear resolute, to know his own mind and do definite things. To come all that way, rifle in hand, with 2,000 people marching at my heels, and then to trail feebly away, having done nothing, no, that was impossible. The crowd would laugh at me, and my whole life, every white man's life in the East, was one long struggle not to be laughed at. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, now coming up next, we have Mr. PW.
Thank you again, Mike. And thanks for that, Orwell. Yeah, it's like he was Bukowski before Bukowski was Bukowski. Read some of those essays. Stuff they made you read in school was cool too, but read those essays. He was a great writer.
What essays? Bukowski's?
And,
Catalonia, Road to Wigan Pier. He was a journalist in the Spanish Civil War. Really important stuff.
Very, almost an antithesis in many ways to Kipling, who was his contemporary. Yeah, this is something old and something new, and we're gonna patch it together, and we're gonna see what the fuck. With apologies and respect to Opalina Salas. If anybody's up around the Dallas area, she's probably the hippest beat mama I know in the state. Some of this came out of a workshop with her at the 3rd annual Beat Poetry Festival, which was in Edinburgh last year. In November, it's going to be up in Dallas, primarily in the Oak Cliff area. And then I think it's going to Houston here after that. And also apologies to Ray Wiley Hubbard. Every now and then I get a turn phrase from great guy. Who, with a pistol in each hand, fired towards the equatorial far off until the magazines were as empty as our faith. Who giggly drooled in saliva beauty as the fucking dreidel song played. Who, cayenne scent still in the air, willingly and copiously pissed on the cop car lights blaring in the Texas sun. I want you to hate this poem. I want you to ignore me. Tell me to get off of the stage. Throw shit at me. Throw garbage. Throw bloated pigeon carcasses. I want you to revile me and stalk me. I want to be cursed in your churches and welcomed in your jails. I do not read for the good people, homeowners associations, the clean people, the tenured, the solidly middle class. No, I want you to hate this poem. Pretty girls wearing crosses. I do not want your pussy. I want you to be offended that I spoke about not wanting your pussy. I want to be told to never read here again. I want to leave this place tonight penniless and with scars. I want you to try with all your displeasure and all of your law and all of your God to kill me. I want you to hate this poem. I am not here to enlighten you. I am not here to curry favor, to repeat the things that you need to hear. That is not why I am here. Thank you.
I'm really sorry, PW, but I'm gonna have to love it.
Hell, shall we?
Yeah.
Yes. Take that.
All right, coming up next we have Misty Rose.
Misty Rose!
She come up after Emma. She wouldn't have that. I went hiking this week at Walnut Creek here in Austin. Louise went with me. We had a really good time. I like hiking a lot. So this poem is called Ticked Off, a Chigger's Point of View. That's your problem to cope. You wish I would go? Nope. Try your raid. I have no fear. The fact is I'm staying here. Even if you call me a chigger and walk on my turf, remember that now I get to conceal and carry. Nothing you do will get rid of me. I took up arms against you once, born on a path taken by chance. Who invaded whose burrow? I claim this as my own burrow. It's a long hike from here to there, but don't suggest busing is fair. Never more will I hitch a ride. I plan to dig in right at your side. As it takes all week to scratch out a living, I might raise the roof of the blisters I'm getting. You'd think I'd give you the shingles? I said pox on all of you and watch the tan turn red. You have no white collar flight option. My waking presence you cannot shun. You may damn me as a chigger again, but I'll still find a way to get under your skin. I claim this space from waist at the fence, but I don't like at the rear alien residence. It's so irritating, you see. For free, they moved in right next to me. To skirt the surface of matters, these blood-sucking neighbors compete in the same space I made. They tick me off, this trail I laid. Just try to pick them off one by one. Their kids crawl up the drain back again. They play hide and seek round my dark shadow. I have depth, so to me they seem shallow. And you can't break through their shell. They get in your hair and then you swell. From the vampire bite of that pimp tick, did you get a fix on this chigger's trick?
I'll never look at those little bastards the same way. All right, coming up next we have Jaime.
Jaime!
Yeah, all right, everybody give it Jaime.
Alright, in an effort to run a little shorter, I've been running shorter and getting long and dramatic. So, here's something. Sitting and taking in the breath of mother, hearing her song and whisper while eyes closed as there is no other. The movement of her exhale, yes. And the comfort of her inhale, oh so certainly yes. Oh, and the smile awakens while eyes sweetly heavy as mother makes it clear, as only a mother could do. You find that she brings you in closer even when you think she's away. Assuredly, you'll find yourself with her while alone, only thinking with her by side to stay. Thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, coming up next we have Thomas. Is Thomas still here? No, he's not. Just kidding, everybody. All right, Jack. No, it's
here, let me go grab him.
Oh, all right. Well, while we're waiting on him to, and that was Wayne that just went to go grab him. All right. Okay. So coming up next we have Ian. Everybody, give it up for Ian. Yay!
Oh wow! I'll wait.
No, it's fine.
No,
Jack.
please go.
Jack.
I think I might have lost my
You
phone.
get up there.
Okay.
And then Wayne, you're
Jack.
Everyone get over Jack! Yay!
I'm taller than this.
Fuck Idaho.
Fuck yeah. Anyone like this shirt?
Yeah.
It's not for sale, but I mean it's just you should admire it.
I'd admire it more if you sold it to me.
Touche, madame. Yeah, this is an unironic list poem. I did a list poem, and everyone was, and this one friend of mine was like, so you did an ironic list poem? And I was like, no, I just did a list poem. It's called A Few Things I've Noticed. If the question is, has it really been that long? The answer is always yes. If your grandchildren never call, they're not thinking of you. You're not in their prayers. They probably don't even pray. If you try to force your friends to watch a sunset, they're going to leave you. If you think it's a pleasant silence, that doesn't mean it is. Eye contact does not create emotional symbiosis. Talk does not create understanding. Sex, coffee, and cigarettes do not create love. If you leave the concert early, you'll beat traffic. And if you care about traffic, you don't deserve the encore. That's a direct jab at my dad. He made me leave every concert we ever attended together.
Bad dad.
My favorite song was always the encore. Like I heard it. Just listen to it really loud in the stereo. If you've got $1, you can't afford something that's 99 cents. If you're angsty, you'll get over it, but you'll never really stop knowing it's all bullshit. Not if you're smart. If a person says they love you, sometimes they mean they love you like coffee. Sometimes they mean they love you as a friend, or as a brother, or as a life raft. Or sometimes as a flower plucked and sheltered from the wind, kept cherished in a photograph while the thing itself is discarded, left to mulch and fade away. Sometimes, very rarely, do they mean they love you the way you want to be loved. But you can always love them, and even when the pillow is one and yours only again. A minnow in a stream can feel as passionately as a turtle. Both of them love water, but turtles gotta eat. You can always look on the sunny side, but if you do it too much, you'll get emotional sunburns. And moonlight gives you cancer, but it looks dang pretty. It doesn't matter who killed Kennedy, it only matters that he's dead. If you give a mouse a cookie, and he doesn't say thank you, don't be offended. The mouse only thinks it found a cookie. The same can be said. I mean, right? The same could be said about us. There is a God, and there is no God. They're the same idea. 2 + 2 = 4. 4 + 4 = 8. 8 + 4 = 12. 12 + 8 = 20. 9 + 11 was an inside job. Happiness is a choice, but it isn't easy. We don't really need anything. We don't need cell phones, everyone knows that. But we don't need cars. And we don't need jobs, and we don't need money, and we don't need food, because we don't need to live. Life's a privilege. But it's also a curse. Some days it'll feel more cursed than privilege, and these are the days we must treasure beyond treasure. If we could choose to be born, I think each of us would have been born today. And it sucks, and it's awful, and it's incredible sometimes, but these moments float by unnoticed, for we are deaf to the din. I've been to the mountaintop, it's boring. But it helps to realize we let wander the spirit in the body, sometimes into self-made destructions, sometimes into unfair hell. But it is a choice, and this choice is all that makes life good, all that makes hope true or evil bearable. There may be a God, but there sure as hell is no heaven. But there is a heaven. Drinking coffee from a thermos, singing badly to your shower head and neighbors, that first sleep in many, many hours. Walking home at 3 in the morning when the grass is wet and you finally find someone's lost earring, and you can't find your keys, so you walk around just dreaming on your feet of the person you know, whose face you see when you blink. And it's been forever since you heard their voice, and you ask yourself, has it really been that long? There are many iterations to that old lemon's aphorism, but the one that holds true is this: life never gives you lemons that you can still squeeze.
Oh, thank you very much, Jack. With the little truth bombs in there. Stuff that makes you go, hmm. All right, coming up next, we have Wayne. Everybody give it up for Wayne! What?
I love you, Wayne.
He loved you, Wayne.
Take it off.
Huh?
Freebird.
Oh, yeah. You want me to perform Freebird real quick?
I forgot my guitar.
Freebird real quick. I can't do Freebird. I can't pull that off.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, I'm relying on my computer because it's the only thing that keeps my poems right in one place. Okay, so this is a more depressing poem, possibly in line with Jack's more or less. It's called The Silent One. They hide behind their pint glasses, their pots of coffee, their jogging in place. How dare they see me with such disdain? Why do they hide? Why do they create a mask? What is this facade? They mock me with their silent tongues, their silent minds, their silent hearts. Their wagging tongues torture me. They know as well as I that they're just flapping their mouth meat. They say nothing, yet expect something to be said. Why are they so silent? Why do they speak from preconceived notions of what it means to have a human conversation? We are so alone in this humble earthly body. Why do they refuse their soul? Where is their passion? Where is their joy? Why are they so silent? Their silence angers me, an anger that raptures me, that consumes me, an anger that burns my soul. Because in their silence they judge. They've already made up their minds about me. How can you judge me? Me? You can't judge me. You don't even know me. I don't even know myself. Who the fuck are you? Who the fuck are you? You have the gall to think that you know enough about me to say that I am weak, that I am ugly, that I am wrong, that I am not good enough for your vacuous expectations, that the me that I am is not good enough for the you that you are. My anger is ill-placed, because I am. I am weak. I am wrong. I am not good enough for the me that I am, for it was I all along, the silent one that mocks me, the silent one that judges me, the silent one that refuses his soul. It was me all along, the silent one.
All right, thank you. All right, coming up next we have, dude, yeah, that dude right there. Ian, give it up for Ian, everybody.
Alright, so I wrote this one a few months back in a pretty miserable relationship, and it took me those few months to realize I probably shouldn't have been writing this in the first place. But what can you do, you know? It's been a while since I willed words to writing. All of them lately seem like they're for sighing or fighting, falling clumsily out of my mouth while I espouse confidence in my charm, seeing no way my words would ever harm. I've been reckless. I've been worried up in my head and still walking and talking but totally dead, like I've lost feeling organic, caught between panic and manic. I can't stand it. And so I'm taking the time to make music in my head and make the words rhyme and insist on what I'm saying instead of just what's in my head. So I know my words are honest when at last they're read. Because I adore you, and I really do care, but there are times where all of this gives me a scare from thinking about how serious this might be and how last time seriously hurt me. You've said you don't deserve this. I think the same of myself. I don't think I'm terribly funny, attractive. I don't have wealth. I'm probably bad for your health. And so I took our rough start as an indication that this was a one-way infatuation. And I rant like that internally when the paranoia will start as my brain does the talking, but I grow fonder at heart. So that all I've been saying is not how I'm feeling, while failing my promise not to hamper your healing. All I want is to see you smile, I mean that sincerely, and to hold you in my arms, kissing you deeply.
All right, thank you. Thank you. Coming up next, we have Raven. Everybody give it up for Raven. Yay!
I just put it to sleep. Slip my mind.
Okay.
Let's have it.
All right. So she can work her way up. It's gonna take a little while. I'm gonna go to the next person. Travis is Travis. There's Travis right there. Everybody give him a choice.
So this is like first time I've really ever done this. And I haven't actually been writing poetry seriously for a while, so if these are bad, I'm so sorry.
Don't apologize.
Also, there might be some naughty words.
Woo! Yes.
Naughty
words.
Great.
You have my attention.
Go for it. An evident jackass destroyed my button. Fucked me like a freight train. Made me feel things I never want to ever feel again. My asshole still twitches to this day. Plus, never called me back. Dick. That's how it ends. They're really short, so I was just gonna do like one or two more. That's all right. This is called Love Like S&M. Love is like S&M. When you have it, it wants to hurt you. It wants you to hurt it. When you don't have it, you want to hurt it. And you want it to hurt you. That's it. And this is my last one. Where did all the young cocksuckers go? They fled. When the powers that be plugged up the hole where their dreams fell in.
Whoa. Yeah.
All right. Thank you. And coming up next, we have Raven. Everybody give Raven!
No, they're on the table. They got
No me regalen más libros porque no los leo. Lo que he aprendido es porque lo veo. Mientras más pasan los años, me contradigo cuando pienso, el tiempo no me mueve, yo me muevo con el tiempo. Soy las ganas de vivir, las ganas de cruzar, las ganas de conocer lo que hay después del mar. Yo espero que mi boca nunca se calle, también espero que las turbinas de este avión no me fallen. No tengo todo calculado, ni mi vida resuelta, solo tengo una sonrisa y espero una de vuelta.
Thank you. I have no idea what you said, but it sounded beautiful. Coming up next, we have Leslie. Everybody give it up for Leslie!
Alright, well I guess there's several of us that are reading for the first time tonight. Short and sweet. Right now, this minute, I am ready to run away to Costa Rica. Let me flee this life, these worries. While I'm at it, let me shed these extra pounds, these gray hairs and fine lines. I want to rediscover my youth, redesign my life, have the fun I never thought to have. I want to find some smoking hot young lover and fuck till the sun comes up. I want to scream out my passion, ride the waves of a psychedelic high, take inner journeys, contemplate. I want. I never do.
We just have just a few more poets, and it's going to be the end of round two. I was going to say this dude's name wrong, but I don't even see him. Locus? That's not the way to say it at all. You would chastise me for it. Yeah. The Greats. Yeah. If you can find that dude, then but if not, up next is Paul. So everybody give it up for Paul. Yay!
Sorry. Modern technology and trying something new. It's not working.
gonna read. June, the strawberry moon. Morning's moonbow glow illuminates tender breasts. June's wild ecstasy suggests the dream by Rizzo. Induced by Prenovian grace as if possessed. Love making without a rest under nature's flow. Lust, our only plight. Two souls in opposition, blending day and night. Is cruel earth our partition, our union twilight. We will make no contrition. July, the thunder moon. All is quiet now, fireflies flicker through oak. The stars, procession our yoke, their distance our plow. Together we vow, under droning bullfrogs croak, our love will never revoke, we're each other's now. Nature's pet cigar, 3 a.m. dew on our skin, dreams in a mason jar. Bottled somewhere deep within, our worries lie far. The darkness covers our sins. Thank you.
I talked to him. He said that he forgot all of his phones.
Oh, yeah, bullshit.
I don't know if I buy that. All right, fair enough. Well, we just have 2 more poets then. And actually, Brett wrote them down. Roberts.
Robert's outside.
That's the
People, the poetry reading is inside.
Yeah,
It's not that hard of a concept.
I'm the official runner of the day.
Yes, thank you so. Everybody, give it up for Wayne.
I'm the finder of people.
Yes, the finder, the great finder of people. Roberts.
Yes.
Yes, Robert, come to the stage. You are being summoned. Everybody, go, Robert! Yay!
Hey, sorry I couldn't be here to listen to you all. I brought my boyfriend over here, and he's like outside being really emo and writing stuff and not being inside yet because he's antisocial. And I'm sort of like half pandering to that. Anyway, so I'm gonna read. This is not something I wrote, but it's in honor of this awesome drink here, which I really would encourage anybody who's over the age of 21 to try. It's called the Wake Up Dead Imperial Stout by Left Hand Path Brewery. It's good. They won't sell you more than 2 in one night.
That good.
It's called Famous Old Spiced. Many a year I've worked in these parts, running this inn that ain't marked on no charts. Though its location to many is known, if you're to find it, you have to be shown. Through methods long hidden, we carefully craft a beverage to rival the hunt master's draft, the mere smell of which the gods would entice, and them that know call it that famous Old Spice. Here sits a man, a smuggler by trade, a boasting of all the money he's made, running his liquor to here and to there, traveling all over and peddling his wares. He says he's had beers from Prussia and wines taken from all the very best vines. But none of these tipples could ever suffice, so I'll bring him a jug of that famous Old Spice. Oh, pour me a slug of it, throw me a mug of it, bring me a jug of that famous Old Spice. In walks a sailor all battered and blue, falling afoul of his captain and crew. They pulled into port. Their cargo was stacked, but 3 hours later he's caught in the act, acquainting himself with the skipper's own wife. That spool was lucky to leave with his life. He's not here for doctors or friendly advice. He just wants a jug of that famous Old Spice. Oh, pour me a slug of it, throw me a mug of it, bring me a jug of that famous Old Spice. For men of the sea go as fast as they come, and leave little more than the tales they have spun. So sing me your sermon, and pay me my price, and I'll give you a jug of that famous Old Spice. Oh, pour me a slug of it, throw me a mug of it, bring me a jug of that famous Old Spice.
I really feel like it's, I have to say yeehaw after that. That was, yeah. All right, your accent or whatever on that was awesome. All right, this is the last poet of round 2. So we got Seamus. Yes, Seamus. Thank you. Seamus.
Oh, he's now the runner. So
he's not.
I said he's now the runner.
He's on the runner.
The forerunner.
He's now the runner. I understand now. I can form thoughts and put them together. So yeah, since we're waiting for that guy, then I'll just do this little dance for you. And there he is. No. Yes, everybody, give it up for Seamus.
I don't know what the fuck I'm doing, so I'm just gonna read this horrible gibberish that's on my page. Cold and aloof, but do you know me? Can you fathom why you choose the words to describe me? Pretentious, half-witted, and unenlightened grace your lips as my ears burn miles away. You speak of me as though you are me. Name a reason why you speak of me that way. What changes in the limelight? I have no fucking clue what I'm doing here. I see faces I don't know. I see people that remind me of people that I've known a long time ago, people that go to Texas State, people that tell me, hey, you shouldn't be here because you don't know what you're doing. I see someone who's it's a very nice dress. It's a very nice blue shirt, reminds me of one I have at home. I love your driver's cap. I see people who are just dying for me to get off the stage because I don't know what I'm doing. I see people in love. Oh, it's all part of that act. There's no method to the madness. I've created a world that's slowly becoming a part of society that is just, it's called monstrosities. And I don't know how to explain it. It's a nice shirt, and I like this headlessness and the abyss. Yeah. There are a lot of people that remind me of home. There are a lot of pictures. I should feel at home, but I don't. So.
All right, thank you. I don't know if you realized it, but that was a spoken word piece. So thank you. That was the end of round 2, everybody. We're gonna meet back in 10 minutes, which is phone is over there. Which is 10 minutes. You'll be able to figure that out. So yeah, that'll be round 3, everybody. So have a smoke, get a drink, tip your bartenders, baristas, whatever, and we'll see you back for round 3. All right.
They're still serving alcoholic caffeine over there, right?
Yes.
I've seen it. You know, you just go to Mexico on newspaper. Should I say that?
All right, everybody. Hey, everybody, it's round 3. All right, that is what I like. Thank you very much. This is the last and final round of Poetry Night. So thank you so very much for coming out. All right.
Next time I see you.
So, starting off, we have Thom. Thom the Magic Jack. Hurry up, Thom Magic.
Oh, children of Google. Google this name. Adrian Mitchell, poet long past, but he, on the front line of the working class, said this: most people ignore most poetry because most poetry ignores most people. So this night, the third round, in a specific time and space, this is your face inside my mirror, reflecting upon the fact that you're brave enough to explore through the medium of metaphor the pain and the pleasure. Misty Rose, you came a long way for this evening. You know quite well that you made this reading only because you said this is an important place to be, the only place you can be. P.W. Covington, I've known you for so long. In Texas jails and outside the bars, there you are, drinking in inspiration and pouring out perspiration. And your love, she comes out like a flower tonight. First time to let the tongue fly like wings. First time to trust that other ears will sing. First time inside this room at least 4 new voices were born this evening. Fresh, moon-washed, and you returning to the tribe that loves you because you know quite well they're welcoming you. Now all these words are all lies. You know quite well that we despise the fork-tongued politician and the patriarchal priests. But the bottom line is this: you don't have to trust anybody when you express. You only have to trust that there'll be someone there to undress their own soul. Your soul belongs to you. You don't have to listen to anyone at all, and the bottom line is, at the end of this evening, we'll be all going to different directions and different destinies. And while our footpaths lead towards our own immorality or immortality, it doesn't matter, except we have expressed an antidote to death. And it's more than we expect when your bravery is reflected in the mirror of your shining eyes in life. Thank you for tonight.
All right, coming up next we have Louise. Everybody
Imagine, if you will, the anxiety and thrill of having to learn from scratch all the little things. How to sit and how to stand, how to walk and talk and raise your hand. That's the beginning of a poem I've never recited before. It's from my play Among Amazons, set in San Francisco in the 1970s. Laura Sabinal leaves the pink pueblos of New Mexico for the white pueblos of San Francisco, and even a seeming paradise like San Francisco can still be an alien city. The title poem is very short. An innocent among Amazons, writing poetry in the dark, I strain my assaulted eyes and mind to place myself in a world, any world. I wonder at that, but I know why I bloom on the wall and construct my own hell. Now, regular sized poem, the first poem in the play. San Francisco, alien city, your winds blow warm and cold like the faces of your people. My passions rise and settle with the drift of your mist. You have welcomed me wholly only to snub me in your streets. I exist through your benevolence, yet your whims deny my being. I am both one with your spirit and nothing to your numb heart. I will win you, be assured. You will love me yet. I have learned your fickle moods. They cannot faze me now. I turn my face to your changing gusts and bear the wind and the rain. They cannot erode my new-flowered self. They cannot erase my naked soul. I pour and I flow with your elements. Now that I know, I'm whole. Thank you.
Give it up for... Oh, yes, I should have. Give it up for...
what's his name?
Hooray! Give it up for Magic Jack!
I speak Japanese.
Oh, very good.
My family never understood me. They said, I think he's talking Japanese again. Mixture of art and philosophy and whatever. I always answer questions instead of like how. I always answer questions in terms of why. And I'm like, just get to the point. Just get to the point. Anyway, this is called World in Danger. It's a little bit serious. Someone mentioned George Orwell. Is that person still here?
It was the other Jack.
Was the other Jack.
Yeah, another Jack.
So there's a quote
Probably
from
right.
George. The world is in danger, serious danger, but this is not new. The battle to be free was won, but it was only a battle. Remaining free of oppression, this is a constant war. Peace. Let's wave flags, gesture hand signals, sing about it, march in parades for it. But unless we stand up and demand it, refuse to let it be distorted, refuse to kill in its name, speak up for real peace. Speak up for real peace. Make peace in your heart. Then, if not, it's just a word. Justice must be sought, then peace can take hold. And a quote from George Orwell. Until they become conscious, they will never rebel. And until after they have rebelled, they cannot become conscious. From 1984. Yes, we must rebel. And we cannot fear reprisal. Thank you.
Yep.
All right, coming up the stage next, it's this guy. See how I did that. All right. This is a poem written by my very dear friend Bradley Hewlett.
Yeah, Brad.
Yeah, Brad. Yeah. All right. Yeah, give it up for Brad. Yeah, he can feel it. He can. All right. This is called Reduction. Love knows not its own age, said the wise man to the sage. It knows only that it will die, and that forever is the greatest lie. The sage sat silent. While love exists, it is ever the same, unwithered, unbroken, undiminished, aflame. No bonds can it muster to make itself fast, no foundational buffer from present to past, its form complete from the moment that it is cast. The sage sat silent and still. It cannot be perfected and it cannot grow. It cannot learn or improve, no seeds can it sow, nor can it shine, nor cover, nor flow. Reduction does not become what is perfectly vast, its form, complete from the moment that it's cast. The sage sat stolid and silent and still. In a rage, the wise man grappled the sage and chopped it to pieces, pulsating with rage, and violently flung them into a boiling pot. For the sage was just an herb, and the wise man was not.
Oh.
That was Bradley Hewlett, a very dear friend of mine. Thank you. And coming up next, we have Mr. Jim Darling. Give it up for Jim!
You've heard of a pickup artist? Well, I'm kind of a master at breakups. So this here is the greatest breakup letter ever written. Oh wow. Excuse me, may I take a seat? I'll have to walk 1,000 miles to the next time that we meet. So when I have attention, I might mention you taste sweet. A kiss with open eyes and lies to prove deceit. Don't give me that. I know you better. Let's have a chat. I'll read a letter, the one I wrote when I was lost and crossed paths with the weather. It hasn't been the best I've had, but I'm glad it's been with you. And every shooting star in view will be a wish for truth, that you might see inside of me and find I'd be uncouth, but that I hope with every breath to make it up before my death, or more before I've lost my youth. And I know that I might question the suggestion that we talk, in case I have to face some confession I can't walk. But if you stay and make me say every word that I may keep, I swear that there's a sweetness in the salt that I may weep, and you can taste it on your tongue. You can hear the shallow breathing when I'm forced to use my lung, and you can waste it all right now, when you get up to show you're leaving, and I breathe your final bow. Some time from now, I'll go for good, and you might say you knew me, or at least you wish you could. I am the most frightened poet that has ever loved you with, and you might even know it, but you swore you'd never tell. My dear, I fear this isn't breath, this isn't death, but something worse like missing breath to suffer with. But if instead I lose my life and end up dead, you'll wish that there was something that you could have done or said.
Wow.
Thank you, thank you. All right, coming next, we have Robin. Everybody have Robin!
She needs a song.
Rock and Robin.
Rock and Robin.
This is the choir, everybody.
really, really short ones. The shortest one I've heard all evening, they've all been short. So I sit in the dark, nighttime living room. My cat is asleep. So I take on the role of staring down non-existent noise and chasing a chaos of shadows. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, coming up next we have Scott. Everybody give it up for Scott. Yay!
I've always wondered how I ever come to the creative process, whether it's writing a poem or loving a child. Just told my brother the other day, my reaction to all my art forms is different depending on what it is. When I write, I feel like what I told him was putting a bullet through my head. After I'm done, I'm just exhausted, spent in a crazy word space. When I perform, I feel like passing out. I feel like I'm going to walk off this stage and I'll need the audience to pick me up because I'm putting everything I can into it. And then, out of the memories come me painting. When I paint, whether it's pictures of a cactus or abstract blues, it's as if the whole world's dancing with me. Every other art form I've ever practiced is just some harmony of that. There's a moment when you paint a painting. If you're on a big easel, you take your brush and you raise it up to the canvas. And for all the world, you want to see what's behind it, but you can't. So you just trust that it's going to be okay. You let it fly. You say somewhere in these fingers there's a sound or a chord or a tone that makes sense. When I paint, I want to dance. I want to join everything around me, the easel, the brushes, the smoke and the cigarettes and the dope and the beer, into one big amalgam that says, we're all here and it's glorious. Because I'm not imagining anything as so much as I'm being imagined by the canvas, by the woods. Poetry is the same way. It's just a sound in the underbrush. It's just a dark sound that I hear when I lay in my tub, because I know when I open my eyes, it will all still be here. So what do you do when the poem ends? What do you do? Do you dance? Do you sing? Maybe if you don't sing or you don't dance, God's honest truth is you should be a chef or a baker or a bricklayer. I pray that your art form is one where you want to join the whole wide world in a song, in a wild, mad embrace. You just trust that wherever the brush is touching, you just make contact, and when you step back, everything looks all right. Peace.
That was your chair.
very much. What do you do when the poem ends? That's really something to think about. Edit. All right, coming next we have Brett's. Everybody give it up for Brett! Yay!
Can you do this?
Honestly.
It's called a tambourine, guys.
There you go, Chad. There you go.
It's a real instrument. It's a tool. You can. You don't know what I have. Yeah. Okay. This is great. Okay. I still have the guitar theme from last song in my head. Okay. So, open the Ajna chakra. Then you'll know that at some point your being, your entire complex, body, mind, spirit complex has hope. So, you'll know that you go from the tips of your toe to the very top of your crown. Full-blown, radiant jewel crystalline, explosion, the Jupiter politicians always lie. I won't lie because they're the Jupiter. They're not superlative, they're not that great, especially if they hate women or races or play cards. If they play cards, what cards they're playing? Hopefully they're not playing at a dinner table and making things not go well. And maybe they're not playing cards against humanity. Okay, I can do it. Thank you. Give me a topic. So, poetry as well. Poets, they should never go to hell. Poets are great. That's why we're here, because we're all poets. Until the very wee hours of the night, until it gets very late, we have a right. We don't ever care because we're in the plight of a free man because we know it's right. With the light and shaking it. Thank you. Shake, shake. Okay, shake, shake. We came out because we want to be raised in poetry. We don't want to be raised or tased or anything that's not becoming. We just want the loving, poetic, there's a word in Greek. Okay. You found it. You found it, even though it's all around it. Not around you. It's just somewhere. You have to find it, but it's not you. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Brett. Thank you. Thank you, Jack. Yeah, thank you, Jack. Thank you, Jack and Brett. Yes. Steven, is Steven here? There he is. Steven, right over Steven.
This one's called To You, God. She loves, and so gives love her patience. And so the sensations she feels and gives rise to tickles, flushes the skin red, forming her breast into a bed to dream and wonder, and then to awaken from and to play and become alive upon. She creates the new soil for flowing waters of milk and honey to swim through and give life to flowers of the rain and sea, that washes the pain from her and me and makes more beautiful the playscape of patient love. And it grows, and it gives itself to seed, in the hopes of making fruit sweet as well as us. And our love for her must sing, and give way to new things, and give life to new dreams, yet forever show our starry sunlight love for all. And she dances with the moonlight too, showering in the nighttime bloom of milky waterfall beams, and so inspires the dreams of us as well, spiraling the sea-soaked shells, her with she, and him with he, and we with us all, in lustful tenderness and childish bliss, so we can kiss each other, so we can hold hands and cuddle and breathe care into the air and share every experience we can imagine and more.
with abundant compassion, opening every door to ourselves that shines ourselves to all the stars and the star that we are.
All right, thank you, thank you. All right, coming next, we have Caleb. Give up for Caleb, everybody!
Alrighty, guys. So before I do this one, I'm gonna tell a little bit of a story, if that's alright. A year ago now, I enrolled at Texas State, kind of unsure of where I would end up being by the end of that year, unsure if I would end up meeting any friends or doing good in school at that point. And along the way, I more encouraged to kind of venture out, and I just so happened to Google poetry readings San Marcos, Texas, and the very first page that popped up was the Facebook page for this. So I thought, okay, maybe I'll go check it out. And I remember sitting in the back corner, quiet, shy kid, and there were all these amazing poets around. So I very quietly came up here and said, this may not be as good as yours, but okay. And I can't remember who it was, but they shouted from the audience, don't ever say that. And
probably that guy, Thom.
It probably was. And that stuck with me, like, from the very beginning. Like, from that moment, like, okay, this group is so wonderful, and I'm gonna keep coming back. So the reason that I haven't been back in a while is towards the end of the spring semester, I became very ill, and unfortunately it caused me to have to drop out of Texas State. So I will no longer be here, but I will be coming back here again because this group is fantastic. So until that next time is able to come, I want to read this from a local poet by the name of Anis Mojgani, who is a very fantastic guy. If you haven't heard of him, you should definitely check him out because he's very nice. And I'm going to turn the mic away because this one you have to shout a little bit. And it's out of my comfort zone, so it'll be awesome. Yes. All right. Coolest line to any poem that I've ever heard. You have been given a direct order to rock the fuck out. Rock out like you were just given the last rock and roll record on earth and its minutes are counting down to the moments in flames. Rock out like you just won both showcase showdowns. Rock out like the streets are empty except for you, your bicycle, and your headphones. Rock out like your lips were just placed on a breakdancing muse with legs that go all the way up. Rock out like the publisher's clearinghouse is ringing your front door. Rock out like you never have to open up a textbook again. Rock out like you get paid to disturb the peace. Rock out like music is all that you got. Rock out like you were standing on a rooftop and the city is as loud as the glowing river flowing below you. Rock out like the plane is going down and there are 120 people aboard and 121 parachutes. Rock out like the streets and the books are all on fire and the flames can only be extinguished by doing the electric slide. Rock out like it's Sunday afternoon and Monday is a national holiday. Rock out like somebody's got a barrel pointed to your temple saying rock out like your life depended on it, fool, because it does. Rock out like your eyes are fading, but you've still got your ears, but you don't know for how long, so rock out like 5 o'clock time meant popping lock time. Rock out like you've got a pair of pants full of tokens and nothing to do but everything. Rock out like you're the international skee-ball champion of the entire universe. Rock out like you just escaped an evil orphanage to join a Russian circus. Rock out like your hero was fallen and you were spinning your limbs until they burn into a flaming pyre of remembrance. Rock out like you were enslaved in the South, and dancing is all that you have to know who you are. Rock out like your dead grandfather just came back to take a ride with you in your brand new car. Rock out like the table is full. Rock out like the neighbors are away. Rock out like the walls won't fall, but damn it, you're gonna die trying to make them. Rock out like the stereo's volume knob is only the figure eight of infinity instead of merely numbers. Rock out like it's raining outside and you got a girl to run through it with. Rock out like you were playing football in the mud and your washing machine ain't broken. Rock out like you threw your window open on your honeymoon because you want the whole world to know what love is. Rock out like you just got a book published. Rock out like you just went to your high school reunion to find that everyone, even the women, are all ugly and balding except for the former captain of the cheerleaders who has just been divorced by her impotent husband and only has eyes for you. Rock out like you've got a date with Heidi Klum. Rock out like the shadow of a man passes behind you, drops you to your knees. You're buckling in a sweat, cold metal pressed to the back of your skull. The trigger is pulled and the gun jams. Rock out like you got an empty appointment book and a full tank of gas. Rock out like Jimmy has returned carrying brand new guitar strings. Yeah. Rock out like the mangoes are in season. Rock out like the record player won't skip. Rock out like this was the last weekend, like these were the last words, like you don't ever want to forget how. Somebody from Austin.
Thank you, Caleb. And Caleb, you know, you always have a home here.
Thank you.
Yes, yes, thank you so much. All right, coming up next, we have Ray. Everybody give it up for Ray!
Ray! Let's see. This one I read a few months ago. Some of you heard it before. I think the original inspiration from this was Robert Frost, Fire and Ice, and I think it kind of lost track of that somewhere along the way, and it certainly lacks the concision of that poem, but it's not too long. Anyway, it's called Pruritus Mundi. Which came first, the itch or the scratch? Most would say the itch. It's a physical problem that requires a physical cure. So we scratch where it itches. Itch commands, scratch obeys. Others say not so fast. The itch is only a projection of the urge to scratch. We have a hole in the psyche that can only be filled by scratching. So we search high and low for something to scratch. Scratch pursues, itch yields. In my experience, the most scrumptious dishes are made from scratch. But there are times when I gladly settle for a comely itch.
Right on. All right, coming up next, we have Emma. Everybody give it up for Emma.
Flick, flame, you're tossing the blame. Blue lighter, you're blue. Blue lighter, you're blue. Kiss, shame, ashamed of your name. Blue lighter, you're blue. Blue lighter, you're blue. What did I do to make you remember those cold, dark days in December? Blue lighter, you're blue. Blue lighter, you're blue. It ain't me, babe, the one that you see. And you two ain't true. Blue lighter, you're blue. Blue lighter, you're blue. So I look at your light, get over your plight. Blue lighter, won't you ignite the dark in your night? Reveal the sights that are yours by right. I don't want to fight, but you've got to see me now, not her in hindsight. I'd risk a burn if you would get close to me. Oh please, make me bright. I do not deserve your slights. Forget that you're blue. Forget that you're blue. Let the flame within shed your mood. Let it make you nude. I want you exposed as me. A fragile paper made from tree. I stand beside you, hoping to catch fire. Because it's more than anyone can desire from someone so cold. Blue lighter, turn me on. I'll burn blue for you. Thank you.
All right, can we have, is Ryan here? Is Ryan here? No, he's not. Okay. All right, coming up next we have PW. All right, PW.
Hello. We still have people on the stairs, man.
Woodstock Freeway.
Wow. Third fucking round and still going down in San Marcos town. Oh. I was just sitting there like, man, I don't fuck. Dark out there. You've heard this before.
Yeah.
Reading from my second poetry collection. It's called I Did Not Go Looking for This. There's a third collection published by Slew Press and Works, but I'm not supposed to talk about that. Chuck Taylor is in the neighborhood. He may have heard this. This is called The Night. Do a lot of driving at night. I do a lot of reading at night. I live in the middle of fucking nowhere. Just outside of the metropolis of Shiner, Texas. So I drive a lot to get anywhere that matters. God, Kolachi capital of the world. Kolaches and cows. You do a lot of driving at night.
Bring some kolaches next
Awesome.
time. Some cows.
They have Shiner here, that's all I need.
Made out of kolaches.
The night, La Noche. Beyond the headlamps, into the night, just past the halogen glow, onward, inward I must go. Night creatures, coyote tricksters, chupacabra myths, winged bats and phantom cats ride the edges of the headlight shine. They all exist, driven on beyond the light, owning, stalking, breathing the night. En el noche más allá de las luces de las taras de mi carro, hacia adelante, pasando el brillo haligénico, libro retro de cerrar. Coyotes, chupacabras míticos, murciélagos negros y gatos fantasmas andan por los bordes del brillo de las luces. Todos existan, impulsados más allá de la luz, poseando, acicando, sobrevivir la noche, in the dark. All hail the night owls, the hippies, the junkies, the cops, the whores, night nurses, and defiant children. Hunter Thompson had a theory that the truth was never told in 9 to 5 hours, and I believe him. I sing the song of the blocked rider, the horny and lonely private first class, the cuckolded husband who waits in his car just down the street, the mother tossing in her sleepless bed, worried about anyone ever finding out how much she hates her fucking life. It is in the company of night creatures that I've always felt most welcomed. It takes something to stay awake and face the things head on others would prefer to sleep right past and never know, never learn. Every soul has a dark side, just as every heavenly body. The difference is most humans believe they can keep it hidden, denied, invisible. All hail those that know better. Please, step into the darkness so that I may see you better. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. All right, coming up next we have Misty Rose.
Misty Rose!
Oh, take her back surprise.
Hello, Misty Rose!
Is my purse still there?
That's something good to know.
You picked a fine time to pray for me, Louise.
Not even a dime, no cell number or keys. A few feet were enough. Across to the counter, I could see my stuff. Just over my shoulder, I heard a chair scrape. My idle glance too late, they made a quick escape. A victim of theft, my fate. Before this high noon crisis began, I'd removed from its sleeve and carried in my own hand credit and license for a need. Leaving the fuller wallet was my error of no intention, for it allowed the guilty to get taken in by temptation. But good people cared non-stop. A driver saw something not right, then in passing called for a cop about 2 guys with a purse in flight. They were soon far out of sight, so escaped in their acts so rash and avoided any legal fight over a petty snatch of cash. To help with this mess, the police wouldn't come, although another eyewitness saw them clearly on the run. But without bodily harm, cops couldn't care anyhow. Fear was not a false alarm if they stole my car now. Shielded by ignorance in this case, had I myself seen the crime, I might have given instant chase upon a more dangerous time. I didn't know where was aid. Cell numbers were unknown. My anxiety would not fade. I was desperate and alone. A stranger made an offer in unexpected kindness to use her own computer and rescue my distress. Then her courageous feet, while my panic was fed, in vain she searched a street where the villains had fled. I was not in my hometown, and no friends were online. I could not hide my frown at the "Get Help Here" sign. A worker no longer bored did a review in curiosity. Come and goes were stored on tapes I should not see. My vision had gone dull. I thought I needed to sit. Hope springs forth eternal. Dared I reach out toward it? There was a man with a purse. This was a bold new reality. It could not have gotten worse. This was beyond my ability. Now, to end the suspense of how events did unwind, my clutch in history since, money gone, I did not mind. The rest of belongings found quite a few blocks away, behind a tree on the ground where the culprits did not stay. I let out a gasp or low moan. Evil had no higher cost. Rejected my cheap phone, and the keys were not lost. Citizens had felt and spirits stirred, thus the law was notified. Dispatch then remembered my call that was turned aside. Finally, an officer at attention is here in time and space to address this situation. Power is deadlocked at this place. Security refused to cooperate. Policy manual against uniform. With no warrant signed this date, no access to tape is the norm. The issue, no longer my beef. In debate I wouldn't immerse, for return to my relief was my own prodigal purse. Phone was lipstick smeared, still I welcomed the sight. Fingerprints of past were feared, but I felt only delight. I did not deserve any of this, but was grateful any help came. So I went to offer a hug or kiss and ask that stranger her name. She'd been praying, she said. God, please help this person. In awe, my face flushed to red, suddenly aware I had said none. You picked a fine time to pray for me, Louise. Not even a dime, no cell number or keys. Past limits of earth authority, heaven arranged support was sent. On my behalf, prayer had no fee, and I learned how good was spent.
Thank you so much.
Had a similar experience.
And coming up next, we have Jaime. Yeah, no?
Jaime.
Yeah, Jaime!
just do a little bit what Mike said, spoken word, you could say that. But Caleb, it's okay. I saw the face. And Scott, kind of, you two bounced around in my head, and you mentioned about, I remember you said you came here the first day, you were nervous, but I remember you were really excited about coming here. Does anybody remember that? I don't know. But he was really excited. And I think that's important because as I spoke with a friend of mine named Alkalani Jones, he wanted me to read something, and I said, I don't have anything to read. I don't have anything to read. It's like, no, man, you need to read something, you know? Because what you can read might be something somebody needs to hear. And hearing what you said reminded me of that. And hearing that also reminded me of Scott talking about the creative aspect. Where does the creativity come? Creativity comes from extending yourself out, little shoots, allowing yourself to die, allowing who you are as a person to die. That way you can grow into another person. And these little bits, they come together and allow you to see what you didn't see before, the death. Allowing yourself to fail again, and fail better. And with that, I hope Caleb can come back and say some more things, because even though it was his first time, I heard him, I was like, he's been doing this. He's been writing. I can tell. It was in there. But thank you.
Amen.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, coming up next, we have Thomas. Wait, I already called Thomas out before. I don't remember things, people. I'm sorry. Jack. No. There he is. Yes, give her Jack. Yay!
I thought that was headphone Jack.
Headphone Jack.
Okay.
First off, I'd just like to say it is an incredible honor to be in a place where people have come for poetry. And so many people, so devoted. People were outside trying to listen in. It was like the Sermon on the Mount, but with amateur poetry. Which is all poetry. All poetry is amateur poetry, because anyone that professes to be professional sucks. Sorry, total sidetrack, but the guy from Oasis, Liam Gallagher, said that he was the next Beatles or something like that. And that was the moment when I was like, oh, Wonderwall actually sucks. So this is a sonnet for a girl named Bug, and it's called Come a Little Bit Closer, Hear What I Have to Say. That's a Neil Young lyric. If drenched eyes into your pillow hide, exhausted, do you pace the unmade bed? This sonnet shall reveal, then disappear. You do not sleep with pictures in your head. Forego the loss of life a little more, you whisper while your friends are telling tales. Delight not you in whimper and release. The lightning bug that glows forever stales. The echoes of our love will be imperfect. The yawning and the spite will be forgot. The summer wanes and winter fever comes, a sum total soon to mulch and rot. Decipher this while in a leather chair, or on a cot, or where you're buried. What dreams come out of unimaginings, you do not sleep with pictures in your head. And so do not pause, or seek to fill your days. Exfoliate yourself in what you find, relax, and let the world amaze. When song and dance and wilderness beside conclude for you that this has been a day, and sleep is making biscuits on your chest, with all the broken lovers swept away, I think that I will lay upon the grass, and watch some of the ants I notice pass, and drink the wine we cannot carry back, and smoke the cigarette out of my pack.
All right, thank you. All right, we've got about 6 or 7 poets left. That's going to be the end of round 3. This has been a great night. Thank you all for coming out. Y'all are amazing. Yes, and if y'all can stick around, some of y'all can stick around and help me gather some of these chairs and get stuff, that would be awesome. So without further ado, we have Wayne coming up. Everybody give it for Wayne!
Alright, so this is actually my first night ever reading my poetry out
Yay,
loud.
You're a badass bullshitter.
Thank you.
Aw.
You're welcome. So let me just get all this worked out. Alright, so I'm going to give you a little bit of backstory behind this one. This was something that I wrote as an assignment for one of my philosophy classes, but essentially what it is, are any of you aware of Aristophanes? Oh, wow, more than I expected. Okay, party on.
I don't think I've ever heard that followed by you all know. Yeah.
You don't know about Aristophanes? Yeah. Party on, man. But yeah, so I wrote a personal ad that I adapted for Craigslist, but it's a poem, and it's based on his theory of love. So, and I actually did put this on Craigslist, by the way. Alright. We once frolicked about the earth as a single soul, a single bulbous entity too powerful for gods to fold. We revealed in our pursuit, hapless and whole, Zeus's jealousy caused lightning to break our mold. What I seek is truly not so meek. I seek the companionship of one who has searched in vain, one who feels the need to be joined once again. No matter if you be man or woman, only that we are interwoven. No matter if you be young or old, only that we can reforge the mold. One who would share their soul and not force their final goal. The celestial guise need not hide you from a lover's embrace. I am here, all you need is to look upon my face. I offer you the love of one who knows you more than you know yourself. One who would offer myriads to not be parted. Nay, I offer kindness and a lover's servitude, though I am not myself faint-hearted. What is important to me is you. I promise to remain timeless and true. Through green forests and over great mountains, we would travel as one to the great Trevi fountain. Poseidon himself would cherish our embrace. His heart would shine on us with grace. Now and forever, till Zeus become jealous and strike me where I stand, I will hearken you unto me.
Party on.
Party on. Party on.
Party on there. Yeah, wow, can't talk. Not even gonna keep going. All right, coming up next we have Ian. Everybody give it up for Ian. Yay!
You realize how intense I am. You know, I'll just push everybody back. Alright, so this one is completely absurd. I really haven't even polished it, read through it again since I did it. The first thing I ever read up here that I personally wrote was actually about my first time doing shrooms, the day after I did shrooms. It was awesome. But I've been working, since then I quit coming up here because I've been working, still am, 7 days a week for over a year. And it sucks, and I was just, felt like I didn't have any personal growth going on. I was like, man, I really want to do these shrooms and figure out where my life is going. It happens sometimes. I spent last night asking psilocybin where my mind's been. It spoke back against the black inside women and men, telling the truth and lies the lies of sin. When will I begin to know why my mind's been torn asunder, splitting several months between splendor and blunder? It's a wonder I'm still going after mind spent slowing my thoughts, hoping to grow out of a lot, knowing it's not the end of existence, but I still feel resistance to letting go. When will I know what I'm to be? And something spoke back saying, don't you see? You can be the jack of all trades, the master of fun, wanting to feel good at something, but you've more than one phrase you can turn 50 ways. Your limits aren't gimmicks that go on for days, and your brain space a perfect place to erase and rearrange your words, chewing them like cud until you spit something absurd, sinister like some rhyme minister. But you're not here to preach or teach or administer advice. You're here to get it all out. You write like it might be the only way to say it right. Since when are you filled with obsession and fright and this illusion of control? Was life too dull? You make mountains from molehills, casting shadows, where you will appreciate the light, getting lost in the darkness when before it was too bright. You lack balance. Are you afraid of your pride? It's been years since your ego took you for a ride, since you lied, since you tried to hide yourself. But you're now overflowing. It's bad for your health to be so relentless, to leave yourself defenseless for so long. The lesson was learned. Pride, humility, self-worth have been earned. You're stable. You're able to make money and friends and a future that depends on your only desire. Let's rekindle that fire of passion, though not all-consuming and in balanced fashion. Let's dance with the dark and flickering light. Resist the urge to fight what might never be. Have a more subtle rebuttal to negativity. It's like passing time, staring clocks in the face. It drags, dilates, and slows the pace until you look away and days start to race by. Remember, balance and try not to care. And intensely won't be how you wear your heart on your sleeve. It will always get better if you believe. Maybe, again, with drug-induced sleep deprivation, you can get it all out with some rhyming sensation. Except that pretending to be happy and singing to yourself is making you smile and is good for your health. So it's not really pretending, it's just your way of making your life go from happy to happy birthday!
Please, after you. I can't. I mean, after you.
Yes. Yes. Psilocybin, it's good for your health.
Do it! It's a thing.
Yes.
It's controversial.
All right. So coming up next, we have Raven. Everyone give it up for Raven.
Okay, so I'm going to read the translation to what I read previously. Okay, don't give me any more books because I don't read them. What I've learned is because I've seen it. As the years pass, I contradict myself when I think. The time doesn't move me, I move with the time. I am the urge to live, the urge to cross, the urge to know what is after the sea. I hope that my lips never shut up. Also hope that the turbines on this plane don't fail me. I don't have everything calculated or my life resolved. I only have a smile, and I expect one in return.
All right.
All right, thank you. All right, coming up next we have Travis. Travis is no, I don't see a Travis. Nobody's responding to that name, so.
Hey.
Yes. Oh, all right.
It's the capital county of Central Texas.
Coming up next we have Leslie. Give it up for Leslie, everybody.
Okay. This one's called The Distraught Mother. She stands there beside the hospital bed. Her child, 19 years grown, more vulnerable now than the day he was born. This bird of a woman, this distraught mother of 13. Hours turn into days, and the story unfolds. This distraught mother of 13 had this particular child taken away when he was young. Something about him getting badly burned. And yes, I can see the scars. Days turn into weeks. The distraught mother is very busy, praying over her comatose, sedated child. No, ma'am, those aren't tears. No, ma'am, that is a physiological response. Coughing fits will make your eyes tear up. Weeks turn into a month. The praying has long since acquired a sense of desperation. See, look, I'm being a good mother, she seems to say. When not praying, she is engaged in a battle of wills with the world. When not doing battle, she is singing to her son. To all of us, really. Singing tuneless, made-up songs to prove her dedication, so it seems. Soon word gets around. This distraught mother is a prostitute. The womb which brought forth 13 living children is now diseased. Word has it she does unmentionable things with unmentionable people. gets high in unmentionable ways. A month turns into 2 months. This desperate, distraught mother, so easy to judge, so hard not to, so easy to discount, forget, throw away.
Thank you. All right, and this is going to be the last poet for the night. I want to thank all of y'all for coming out and for sticking it through the entire time. Y'all are awesome in every sense of the word. So, without further ado, let's give it up for the last poet of the evening. Give it up for Paul, everybody.
So I'm going to read 2 poems. Quite different, very short. The first one, Hail Sylvia. Hail Sylvia, full of angst, the kitchen knife is with thee. The little are the poets amongst us, blessed are they in the grips of depression. Holy martyr, mother of darkness, pray on us beginners, now and at our untimely deaths, the end. The second one is quite a bit different. Never did I consider this evil. Love is not evil. 2 lovers together should equal entire galaxies. Galaxies that speckle in the unseen area of the eye, rolled back at climax. The stabbing scream of surrender to the laws of nature, not religion. The nocturnal scent of sweat's sensual attraction, mutual from creation and birth. Our bodies cannot be pulled apart. We are connected by an energy as close to God as we will ever get. Thank
All right, everybody. Thank you so much for coming out. Yes, and if some of y'all can stick around and help me with these chairs, that'll be super fantastic. This is San Marcos Poetry Night. You can find us on Facebook. We meet the first Thursday of every month. You can see a flyer out there on the door with the next date. Again, thank you all for coming out. Y'all have a safe night and take care.
Out there like that.